Media, a free service of Zimmer Communications.
The signs are encouraging. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what Biden advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci says about Omicron, hoping it's less severe than the Delta COVID variant. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky tells ABC's This Week.
The more mutations a single variant has, the more immunity you really need to have in order to combat that variant.
So she's urging people to get vaccinated and boosted. Omicron's confirmed in more than a dozen states, and COVID cases last week in the U.S. hit a 2-month high. There are new rules today for all travelers coming to the U.S. needing a COVID vaccine negative test within 24 hours of departure. COVID took another cruise, a stowaway on a ship that just returned. Fox's Evan Brown has more live.
Yeah, Dave, the Norwegian breakaway arrived in New Orleans Sunday after visiting Central America, and that's when departing passengers learned people who were on board had tested positive for COVID-19. 17 passengers are positive so far.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have known, we would have taken maybe a few more precautions.
Before we got off yesterday, we had to be tested. We were never told that anybody was positive.
Now, the cruise line insists those who are positive showed no symptoms, but they will quarantine, Dave.
Evan flags are at half-staff at the White House for longtime Senator Bob Dole, who died after battling cancer at 98. President Biden called him a dear friend.
Former Vice President Mike Pence wrote, Senator Bob Dole was a truly great man. Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz wrote in part, quote, our country could use more like him right about now. Legislators on both sides hope that Bob Dole's legacy will encourage reaching across the aisle and civility in Congress.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff. Dole's also remembered for his sense of humor. After losing the 1996 election to President Clinton, he was awarded the Medal of Freedom and joked he had a dream
that I would be here this historic week receiving something from the president. But I thought it would be the front door key.
America's listening to Fox News.
More than 1 in 3 people will face cancer in their lifetime. Unfortunately, fear can stop you from getting your cancer screening, but it won't stop cancer. Early detection can save your life. Don't wait for symptoms to appear to act. Cancer screening is safe, effective, and accessible for everyone, including free or low-cost screening programs. Go to cancerscreeninfo.com right now for free screening resources and recommendations from the American Cancer Society. Don't wait. Early detection can save your life. Go to cancerscreeninfo.com today. cancerscreeninfo.com.
Dell Technologies' end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech. Save big on the latest computers powered by Intel Core processors for your small business. Don't forget to shop servers, storage, and top-brand electronics with savings up to 45% and all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor to help you find the right tech for your business needs at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 6:03. It is going to be a chilly day here in mid-Missouri. 31 our current temperature right now. We're expecting a high today only around 37. Cloudy tonight with a low near 25 degrees. Good morning, everyone. On this Monday morning, a jury selected in western Missouri's Clay County has been brought to Columbia for a high-profile murder trial that will begin this morning here in about 2.5 hours. It is a case that has ties to Columbia, Jefferson City, and Montgomery County. It is getting national attention this morning. Court TV literally on scene right now, getting their cables hooked up. They're going to be carrying a lot of this live today. The Columbia Daily Tribune notes it's being called the Snake King case. 33-year-old Lindley Rennick is charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action in the 2017 death of her husband, Ben. He was a snake breeder who sold snakes, pythons, anacondas. Our news partner, ABC 17 News, has reported that Ben Rennick was shot 8 times, including 2 times to the face. Online court records that we've reviewed show that Boone County Judge Kevin Crane has denied Lindley Rennick's motion to prohibit a number of graphic photos. It is unclear what those photos are. A second suspect, you'll recall, Michael Humphrey of Jefferson City, was convicted of murder in October. Prosecutors say Humphrey drove Lindley Rennick to the farm where the murder happened. Again, the opening statement scheduled to start at 8:30 this morning. Meantime, the owner of a Columbia business that employed a motorcyclist who was struck and killed by an alleged drunk driver last week is thanking the community for donations to the family. 25-year-old Skylar Maddox died last Tuesday. He worked at Gilbane Motorsports on Nebraska. They posted details details on Facebook about tomorrow's celebration of life, 2 to 4, Wave Cider. It's next to the shop. There are GoFundMe efforts to raise money for the funeral arrangements for Mr. Maddox. 72-year-old Susan Hanel remains jailed without bond today. She is charged with 3 felonies in the case, including the DWI, death of another. Gilbane Motorsports posting on Facebook that Maddox started working there in April and was a joy to be around. A Columbia man is dead after a weekend crash, Highway 63 near Conley Road. Police tell us 26-year-old Cameron Acton was southbound on Highway 63 near the connector ramp early Sunday morning. His vehicle left the road and then went down an embankment. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Columbia officials say a proposed new fire station near St. Charles and East Richland Roads is an optimal location to allow more timely responses for all areas of the city. City Council held a public hearing on the issue tonight and is also scheduled to vote on acquisition of property for the fire station as well. Council approved the project in 2019. Voters approved it as well. The fire department is projecting the proposed station will respond to about 1,000 calls for service annually. It's a $3.2 million project. It'll be funded by capital improvement sales tax money, and that cost includes land acquisition, design, and utilities as well. Residents near West Columbia's Louisville Park could soon see a new permanent outdoor warning siren. Columbia City Council will first read the bill tonight. It authorizes an agreement with Boone County Emergency Management for the siren's installation. Emergency management officials say the area near Louisville Drive and Louisville Park lacks adequate siren coverage. The proposed siren would be paid for by Boone County, no cost to the city. It'd be located near Louisville Drive and Whitefish Court. And a top Columbia realtor, who's the former head of the nation's largest trade association, says nothing disrupts the cycle of poverty like home ownership. Remax Boone Realty Chief Executive Officer Elizabeth Mendenhall says it changes the entire makeup of communities.
When people own homes, they generally have higher education. There is less teen pregnancies in the houses. There is less crime in the areas.
She spoke Saturday on 93.9 The Eagles CEO Roundtable, and she tells our friend and colleague Fred Perry, the host, there are barriers to affordable housing in Columbia, saying the average income here in Columbia is $26,000. Medium home here, $250,000. She is the former president of the National Association of Realtors. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you live on this Monday morning by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning. For all your heating needs, log on to airserve.com. 93.9 The Eagle News time is 6:07. In sports, a lot of territory to cover here very quickly. 3 baseball players with Missouri ties have been elected to the Hall of Fame. Buck O'Neil, Jim Cott, and Minnie Minoso. Many of you don't know about Minnie Minoso, but he certainly has ties to the St. Louis Cardinals. O'Neil, a 2-time All-Star first baseman in the Negro Leagues. He helped found the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City. There actually is a life-size statue of Buck O'Neil in Cooperstown right now. He passed away back in 2006, so Buck O'Neil finally going in. Jim Cott, 83 years old, pitched for 25 seasons, over 4 decades, 16 Gold Gloves. He pitched for the Cardinals from 1980 to 1983, and Minnie Minoso was known as the Cuban Comet. Great career there. He also spanned a number of decades, played for the Cardinals back in 1962. College football, the Missouri Tiger football team heading to the Armed Forces Bowl, Fort Worth this month. Take on Army December 22nd, 7 p.m. Eamon Carter Stadium. Black Knights 8-3, Tigers 6-6. Mizzou women's basketball team losing to Baylor Saturday 70-68, and the Chiefs over Denver last night at Arrowhead 22-9. Our sports is brought to you this hour by Betts Jewelers, downtown Columbia. Our news time 6:09. All right, Kevin, thanks so much. And again, our weather is brought to you this hour by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning. For all of your heating needs, log on to airserve.com. Right now, 32 degrees.
Eagle Eye by traffic.
And our traffic check is brought to you this hour by MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. Visit MidmoHires.com to find a job or post your job opening today. Not hearing any major problems right now on the roads. A reminder for those of you in Jefferson City, unlike Friday where we had mild weather, almost picturesque weather, tonight will be very cold. There will be one more night of candlelight tours. You'll see a lot of folks in downtown Jefferson City tonight. Candlelight tours available 6 to 8 at the Governor's Mansion. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. We'll have more team coverage in less than 30 minutes in breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Ladies and gentlemen, delegates to the convention, and fellow citizens, I cannot say it more clearly than in plain speaking. I accept your nomination to lead our party once again to the presidency of the United States.
Bob Dole, 1996, running against then incumbent Bill Clinton, saying, I accept. And of course, it didn't go so well for him. But one of the things we learned about Bob Dole, remember he ran with, who was it? He ran as vice president years before that.
Gerald Ford, 1976, Kansas City.
And the guy, he was acerbic kind of. He could be... In later years, he kind of turned that into a pointed sense of humor.
Yes, he did. He was called the Hatchet Man in 1976.
Infamously, he was called the Hatchet Man. Something he kind of lived and died by up until the time he died, 98 years old. Bob Dole dying over the weekend. A couple of things that come to mind. First of all, the first thing that I thought of when I thought of Bob Dole, and it wasn't his political career. It wasn't his attempt at becoming president in 1996. First thing that came to mind had nothing to do with politics, had nothing to do with his time serving the members of Kansas, had nothing to do with him serving us, all of us. You know, he was a veteran, served our country, served it very well. It's not the first thing that came to mind. I want to get to that shortly. But here's the other thing. Whenever there's a politician that dies, people come out and really with anybody. Politicians, I take issue sometimes. People say, well, John McCain, I think, is a great example. Oh, people heap praise on him. He was a crappy pilot. Not necessary. My opinion. When people, whether it's national news outlets, whoever it is, I get you want to be truthful, but what I saw happen with John McCain and the way people talked about him, I didn't agree with a whole lot of his politics, and maybe I took it personally. I had several personal dealings with John McCain. He served our country, and he wanted to serve the people of the United States of America, and that has a certain amount of respect. And when I hear people that talk about these people in negative terms, I get it. You can be truthful. I didn't agree with the guy's policies or whatever, but some of the things, and I hope that doesn't happen with the death of Dole, but just not necessary. I form an opinion when I hear somebody saying something. Now, it's different. I'm not talking about O.J. Simpson, right? O.J. Simpson died. Well, he was a good football player and a mediocre actor. That's different. These people that serve our country and serve in politics, I just don't think it's always deserved, especially after they've died, to go and say a bunch of negative things about them. I do form an opinion on people who do that. But I'll tell you the first thing that came to mind, Bob Dole, after everything he did, years in politics, he became one of the very first, I think, if you will, celebrities. And now remember, this is late 90s, one of the very first celebrities to push a now ubiquitous medication that people it was uncomfortable to talk about. back in the day. But this new medication came out in the late 80s. And the makers of this medication, in a brilliant move, hired Bob Dole to be the spokesperson. It was a new medication. It had to do with something that we weren't very comfortable with talking about. We didn't know a whole lot about it. Does anybody remember the medication?
I do not. I remember a Visa commercial, but no, I don't remember this.
Bob Dole for this commercial, and by the way, this was a world changing, and I'm being serious, world changing medication when it was unleashed on the marketplace, and Bob Dole was one of the very first spokespersons.
When I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, I was primarily concerned with ridding myself of the cancer. But secondly, I was concerned about possible post-operative side effects like erectile dysfunction, ED, often called impotence. You know, it's a little embarrassing to talk about ED, but it's so important to millions of men and their partners that I decided to talk about it publicly. And after all, it can be associated with many conditions, including prostate surgery, high blood pressure, diabetes, or even smoking. And the point I want to make is there are many treatments available for ED, so my advice is get a medical checkup. It's the best way to get educated about ED and what can be done to treat it.
Brian, text 874-9390, Viagra. Bob Dole was one of the very first that I can recall celebrity spokespeople for the medication Viagra. Remember when Viagra came out in 98, it was like, what? You mean I just take a pill and boom? But seriously, it was a big deal. Yep. It really was. And a couple of things that are interesting there is the tone of that commercial. You know, it's very serious. There's piano music. And in 1998, when Viagra was released on the marketplace, he was right. Hey, it's something that's uncomfortable to talk about, but here's some things that could cause, or, we called it impotence. They even put a fancy name. It's erectile dysfunction. Put a little bit of a fancy name on it. Wouldn't be so uncomfortable to talk about. And now, that's nothing. Heck, now this stuff is about as cheap as penicillin, actually. I know it's a bad comparison, but when that stuff came out, it was like $26 a pill, and insurance didn't cover it until the patent expired. And then, to show that Bob Dole had a sense of humor, I thought this was a brilliant move. And this is one of the things that people are remembering about Bob Dole this morning. Guy died at 98 years old. Besides his public service and being a veteran and running for president in 1996. He had a sense of humor. And I'm glad to see that a lot of these national news outlets are giving a nod to that. Because he used to be, again, what was the phrase?
The phrase that he was called was the Hatchet Man. That was back in 76. No, that evolved. That evolved.
Right. He got old.
He and President Clinton were very close. They were. They
became really good friends. As a matter of fact, great moment when he accepts the Medal of Honor. I think it was in 1997.
Yes,
he had a great speech, which we do have to highlight this morning. Maybe we'll do that coming up at 6:55. But then to show that he had a great sense of humor, following a whole line of Viagra commercials, he continued kind of in the commercial realm.
Hi, I'm Bob Dole, and I've always spoken to you frankly, no matter what the subject. That's why I'm eager to tell you about a product that put real joy back in my life. It helps me feel youthful, vigorous, and most importantly, vital again. What is this amazing product? My faithful little blue friend, an ice cold Pepsi-Cola.
Pepsi, remember?
Yes.
He did for Pepsi then, but
Absolutely.
everybody...
It's not where I saw that going.
Exactly. And that was the trick whenever this commercial came out. I think it was like 2000, 2001. My little blue... And he holds up a can of Pepsi.
Yes, that was awesome.
How about that?
Great
Welcome
stuff.
into the show. There's Brian Hauswirth.
Good morning, my friend.
Stephanie Pell is here. There's Hannah, the producer.
Good morning.
My name is Branden Rathert. If there's something we can do for you this morning, please let us know. 874-9390, 9390. Coming up, one of our local politicians, Sara Walsh, spent some time with Donald Trump last week. We're going to talk to her. What happened in that conversation? And I'm guessing we got to ask, did he say anything about her race for Congress? She's going after Vicky Hartzler's seat. We're going to find out. Sara Walsh is here at 7:10. And then the more localer, the more important her, one of the latest candidates to declare the candidacy for the Columbia mayoral race, Maria Orapallo, who works in the city, now wants to be mayor of Columbia. Hear what she has to say. She's going to be joining us coming up 6:35 this morning here on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. Good morning.
Get up, get on up, get up, get on up, stay on the scene, get on up like a sex machine, get on up, get up.
Daily DC rundown at 6:25. I want to tell you this from the Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau. We know that even locally, home sales through the roof. Home inspectors. Yeah, home inspectors are in high demand right now. How many times in your life will you hire a home inspector? 2, 3 times? Yeah, right. What do you know about hiring a home inspector? Right? Well, that's why the Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau is here for you. As a matter of fact, you can go to their website, bbb.org, bbb.org, Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau. This is a critical step in buying a home, and this is one of those parts of that critical step. You don't want to mess this one up, so check out the Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau, bbb.org.
Hey, it's Coach Gary Pinkel. I like to listen to Branden Rathert on Wake Up Columbia 93.9 The Eagle.
Certainly you can't believe that the Biden administration cares about COVID if they're going to let over 220,000 people cross every month, knowing full well that 20, 30%, maybe more have COVID, and then sending them around the country. So I don't know how you explain that.
And then, by the way, and I don't care that Joe does this or anybody in the administration. That's Ken Paxton, the AG in Texas, calling Joe Biden on his BS in the administration. You're telling us, and he tells you what we talk about all the time here on Wake Up Columbia 93.9 The Eagle. These people are full of crap. We care about COVID. And then they go out. Joe Biden is out all the time, maskless, and I don't care. I go without a mask, too. I got the vaccine, which it's a crapshoot. It's all a crapshoot. Nothing is absolute when it comes to stopping the spread of this. But when these people tell you, we want you to wear masks, you do this, you do that, and Joe is constantly out in public in large crowds of people without a mask, it tells you one thing. He is a hypocrite. That party, it's the party of hypocrites. And that gets us into today's daily DC rundown. By the way, we have a great moment. Fauci on Fox. He'd been boycotting Fox, by the way, for a while because he didn't like what they were saying. So he's on last week. Neil Cavuto asks him part of this question. He's talking about, hey, so you've enacted new policy, people coming from other countries now in this new variant. What about at the border, all these people coming through that aren't tested?
Individuals who have COVID, what do we do about that?
What do we do about that? Asking Fauci, you know, the guy who says, I am the science guy. How did he respond to that? We're going to have that coming up at 7:35. It was startling, the response that he gave. 7:35. How Fauci answered that question. Here's some other things happening. We go to Georgia now. Governor Brian Kemp, who knew Donald Trump's wrath for refusing to act on allegations of a stolen election, likely to face a prominent challenger for the 2022 Republican primary for governor, former Senator David Perdue. Late Sunday, this happened last night, a website and text updates launched for a Perdue governor's campaign, proclaiming him a bold conservative to unite Georgia. Meanwhile, President Joe and Vladimir Putin going to be speaking in a video call today, or tomorrow, actually. The White House and Kremlin telling us that this morning. They're saying tensions between the U.S. and Russia escalating over a Russia troop buildup at the Ukrainian border that's seen as a potential invasion. And that is your daily D.C. rundown with Stephanie Bell on 93.9 The Eagle.
Wow, Stephanie, you sound a little different today.
Sound like I went through puberty over the weekend.
It's about time. I was starting to get worried.
I guess it's my turn, I guess. It's that time of year when it goes through everybody. Hannah got it, and Hannah and I spent a lot of time in very close contact together, so now I have it. And you know what's weird is when I'm around people, and like if I have to cough or sneeze, I'm like really afraid to. Number one, I'm a germaphobe. I don't like it when people sneeze around me, so I'm not comfortable sneezing around other people. But now when I'm somewhere and I'm like, I can feel the weight of 1,000 eyes.
I know, so I went out
Looking at me.
to eat yesterday, and yesterday my cough was really bad, and it's like really chesty, and once I start coughing, it's hard to stop. So the whole time we were sitting there at the restaurant, I'm like trying to keep it together, and as soon as we got outside, I let loose.
Are you doing one of those where you do the...
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah, trying to just die silently in the corner of the booth so nobody noticed.
Yeah, and you're just kind of making it worse.
Pretty much.
When you're holding the cough. You know, it's like anytime you try to hold in any kind of body function like that, you just make it worse. Whether you're trying to sneeze, you make it worse.
Just delaying the inevitable.
Yes. Coming up, there are now 5 mayoral candidates in the city of Columbia. We visited with all of them. Mayor Brian Treese says he's not seeking re-election. One of those folks that wants his seat, Maria Orapallo. She joins us at 6:35. Fox News is here. There are still some more big cases. SCOTUS is going to be hearing. Fox is going to be previewing those for us here on 93.9 at The Eagle.
That check of weather brought to you by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning, ensuring the air in which you live and breathe is comfortable and clean. For all of your heating needs, log on to aireserv.com.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. The new Omicron coronavirus variant has been detected in at least 17 states. The Surgeon General says there's no need to panic.
Dr. Vivek Murthy on Fox News Sunday said, for all that is still not known about transmission and severity.
In every case, we have seen the vaccinated are better off, and particularly more protected against hospitalization and death than the unvaccinated.
He says that is the reason for a coordinated push across the nation for those who haven't gotten a first shot against COVID to do so.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Burma's former leader Aung San Suu Kyi is sentenced to 4 years in prison. She was removed from power by a military takeover 10 months ago.
One of Suu Kyi's political allies, Sasa, was quick to condemn the sentence.
It has nothing to do with the rule of law.
Suu Kyi, who's a Nobel Peace Prize winner, was convicted of incitement. She faces verdicts on further charges in the days ahead.
Fox's Simon Owen. America's listening to Fox News.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 6:31. It is a chilly morning here in mid-Missouri. It's going to be very cold tonight as well for the candlelight tours at the governor's mansion. Our high today only 37, increasing clouds tonight with a low near 25 degrees. Good morning, everyone. Here are some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour on this Monday. Opening statements are set to begin here in about 2 hours in Columbia in a high-profile murder trial in a case with ties to Montgomery County, Columbia, and Jefferson City. Court TV's cameras will be in the courtroom throughout the trial. 33-year-old Lindley Rennick is charged with first-degree murder in the 2017 death of her husband, Ben, a well-known snake breeder. The victim was shot to death at his Montgomery County snake farm. That case moved to Boone County on a venue change. The jury selected in western Missouri's Clay County. A Columbia man is dead. A horrific weekend crash, Highway 63 near Conley Road. CPD officers say 26-year-old Cameron Acton was southbound on Highway 63 near the I-70 connector ramp when he lost control of his vehicle, went down an embankment and overturned. Acton pronounced dead at the scene. A celebration of life event set for tomorrow afternoon to remember the Columbia motorcyclist killed in last week's collision on North Providence. 25-year-old Skylar Maddox was killed by an alleged drunk driver who failed to yield when making a turn. Maddox worked at Gilbane Motorsports on Columbia's Nebraska Avenue. They've organized tomorrow's celebration live 2 to 4. Wave Cider Company, which is next to Gilbane. Columbia and Boone County authorities are considering installing a permanent outdoor warning siren in a West Columbia park. Council will first read the proposal tonight. The park is near Scott Boulevard. It's called Louisville Park. The county would pay for the entire project. And you'll soon have an opportunity to experience the light extravaganza in the spectacular at Columbia's Veterans United campus, the one on South Providence. That display opens tomorrow night. It continues each night through December the 19th. VU spokesperson Kylie Lawhead is telling the Eagle that the drive-through experience will take you through a 1-mile loop of lights, holiday displays, and also some music.
So it just kind of tours around, and we've got twinkling lights, we've got stationary lights, we've got creatures built out of lights, and all kinds of different shapes and style trees in there. Nightly event is from 7 to 10:30. You will not be permitted to stop or exit your car during the tour. VU notes the traffic flow is heaviest earliest in the evening each night, so you're encouraged to come later to avoid the long wait times. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you on this Monday morning by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning. Log on to airserve.com. 93.9 The Eagle News time is 6:33. In sports, the Missouri Tiger football team is heading to the Armed Forces Bowl, Fort Worth, Texas this month. Mizzou and Triple Option Army, December 22nd, 7 o'clock, Carter Stadium there in Fort Worth. Tigers 6-6, Black Knights 8-3. Army has one more game. You'll see it on CBS Saturday afternoon. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson on the call. It's Army and Navy, the rivalry game this year. They're playing at MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford. The Mizzou Army game again, December the 22nd. Tickets for the bowl game
Time on sale now. The Chiefs beating Denver last night at Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, 22-9. Mizzou women's hoops, Mizzou and number 5 Baylor. Great game Saturday in Waco. Baylor ranked number 5 in the country. Bears win at 70-68. Asia Blackwell for Mizzou, 20 points. Mizzou now 8-1 on the year. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:35.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
Traffic check with MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. You can visit MidmoHires.com to find a job or to post your job opening today. Roads right now pretty quiet in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. We'll have more team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Now, let's get to the main topic. So, today's topic is capitalism and the First Amendment. And unfortunately, capitalism has gotten a really bad rap, particularly among people of our generation. I'm barely still of your generation.
Ben Shapiro is here weeknights from 6 to 9 on 93.9 The Eagle. Check out his show. Great recent seminar he did, Socialism and Why It Doesn't Work. Yet we continue to see on a national level, we have more and more lawmakers want to try socialism, and it simply does not work. And let them give you, well, look at how it's working in Venezuela. There you go. How bad is it? There is a politician in Virginia. He's a GOP House hopeful. He has, and I like this, I like the ability to reach across the aisle and work with others, because people oftentimes, they stereotype, for example, talk radio. They negatively stereotype talk radio. There's a lot of people that will ignorantly believe, well, it's angry white men complaining for 3 hours and banging on the desk. And I despise a lot of that about talk radio. So I appreciate whenever people can come together. Virginia GOP House hopeful has reached across the aisle to AOC. He's telling Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, he's like, hey, you ought to come to Virginia and campaign for my opponent. I think you ought to do that. That's bipartisanship. Welcome into the show. Brian Hauswirth has even managed a little giggle. Good morning, Brian. How are you?
It is interesting. I'm doing fine. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling excellent.
Looking good.
Stephanie Bell is here. There is Hannah, the producer.
Good morning.
My name is Branden Rathert. Something we can do for you this morning, please let us know. 874-9390. 874-9390. Brianna Lennon, Boone County Clerk, quote, tweeted me on this several months ago. So it's official. It's like a thing now, in my mind anyway. She, quote, I always say, the more important her, the more localer, the more important her.
Do you even know your own quote?
I don't. I'm on cold meds this morning, and it's the more localer, the more important her as it comes to elections. We know in Columbia, coming up in April, we're going to be voting for a new mayor. Brian Treese, the incumbent, since he doesn't want it anymore. We've got 5 candidates. We've spoken with 4 of them. Let's meet the latest candidate, Maria Orapallo, who now works for the city of Columbia. Maria, welcome into the show. How are you this morning?
I'm fine, Branden, but please correct what you just said. I do not work for the city of Columbia.
You used to work?
I'm not an employee. No, I've never been an employee of the city of Columbia.
Okay.
I don't know where that information is from. What I do is I've worked on boards and commissions. I worked on task forces, and I'm what might be called somebody who watches council and meetings to understand and make sure I know what's going on. But I do not work for the city of Columbia.
Well, I appreciate you. We like nothing better than an instant fact check here on the on the show.
Sorry.
That's okay. But you know what? That might be the maybe it's not just my perception. Maybe it's the perception of other people, because you spend a lot of time around the city. Yeah. And I got to say this: why Maria for mayor? One of the things I really do agree with you about, and I love this. Too often, and not just Columbia, but with a lot of things, I'll ask people, well, how come, for example, how come we don't have roll carts? say, well, we have trash bags and we throw them out on the yard. And I say, well, how come? Well, because that's the way we've always done it. So I appreciate that you're about, hey, we're not going to do this anymore just because that's the way we've done it. I love that.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because it's been hard for me to have to say in front of council and in front of, very professional city staff, hey, the way you've been doing the budget for 10 years doesn't work. It doesn't say what you're going to do. So, yeah, I called it SWATty. That's the way we've always done it. That's not a policy. That's not a plan. That's a bad idea. And you know that in your own business. You have to evaluate what you're doing. Who is your audience? Who are you trying to serve? And even who are your supporters? You have to make sure that what you're doing meets their expectations and, as a city, their needs. So thank you for that. I appreciate that you know that about me.
Well, I think it's important to find things that folks can agree on. And I want to ask you, you said that you spent a lot of time kind of, I don't know if, I want to make sure I'm getting this accurate, but kind of monitoring city council?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I go to city council meetings all the time. And when I can't, I stream it.
So let me ask you this, because I don't get to go as often as I'd like, because I get up at ridiculous 30 in the morning. But most days I'll be, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll be here watching the meeting. What is it when you go? Are you going just so you know what's going on? Is there something you're after when you go to these meetings? What is it that you're monitoring?
Thank you. That's a really good question. And the reason that is because a lot of people think this is going to city council is about watching city council. Let me tell you where some of the real work happens. It's in the back of the room. It's in the lobby. And sometimes it's outside under the key. Because that's where people who are coming before city council, either with a comment or a complaint or a development plan or a proposal for some new strategy on how to run the city, that's where they stand and talk. And I'm telling you, I've learned more from being in the back of the room, in the lobby, and under the key about what the city of Columbia wants and needs. For all across the board, doesn't matter who it is. One of my favorite people is I'm not going to say his name, he'll know who he is. He's a developer lawyer. And often he'll stand there and he'll say, I know I'm going to hear this, this, and this. And our conversation is about what is he trying to propose? Does it work? Does it fit our policies? And what kind of outcome is he looking for? Those conversations are happening in the lobby. And I learned a lot about the city that way. I've been doing this for many years, because it is an interest of mine, and because I have come before city council with proposals and ideas and suggestions on how to make the city better. So, yeah, I go because of that.
All right, Columbia mayoral candidate Maria Orapallo joining us here on 93.9 The Eagle.
Maria, we appreciate you joining us live on Wake Up Columbia. I know when you announced you were running, you had kind of a theme, if you will, and that was getting the basics right. And you talked about accountability in governing. When you talk about those basics, if you are elected mayor, what are those basics you really want to focus on and that you would focus on if you were elected?
Sure. I kind of, in my own head, because I have to do this, I break it up into 3 categories. What does getting the basic look like in our neighborhoods? Roll carts, trash collection, snow removal, street paving, stormwater management. That's what it looks like in our neighborhoods. What do the basics look like on city council? City council operates through ordinances and policies. Are these ordinances and policies responsive to the needs of the citizens? Are these ordinances and policies clear so that staff can implement them? Are these ordinances and policies so out of date that everybody ignores it, but then when something comes up, all of a sudden we have to regroup and rethink things because the ordinance is still on the book? And finally, what does getting the basics right inside City Hall mean? I'm a huge proponent of the boards and commission systems. I have been on 2 boards and commissions. My other family members have been on 2 boards and commissions in the city. I don't speak in academic terms. I speak in examples. May I?
Sure.
Okay. I've been on the Finance and Audit Committee since 2014. Since that time, we've weathered 4 different finance directors during that time and a turnover of longtime staff. It's been hard because growing pains are hard, as everybody knows. Our new, young, professional finance people have updated and modernized ways that put together a budget that is based on actual cost, not what we spent last year, but on what it actually costs to run a service, to do this delivery of stormwater maintenance, and at the same time having to manage healthy reserves.
All right.
Finances.
Yep. Go on.
Okay. And that's the only way I think that the city can pay its obligations, take care of its employees, because we want to keep good employees, and running the city to the benefit of its residents.
All right, Columbia mayoral candidate Maria. I don't mean to be rude or cut you off. Running out of time here.
You're fine.
All right, Maria, you are welcome. Maria Orapallo, who is running for mayor of Columbia. Website, anything else you want to mention before we let you go?
No, the website is www.mariaformayor.org.
All right, Maria.
And I welcome comments anytime. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate this opportunity.
Well, thank you for joining us here this morning on Wake Up Columbia. 1997. Bob Dole had the audience in stitches. What was it that he said that had him going? We'll have that coming up for you. 6:53 here on 93.9 The Eagle at 93.9theeagle.com, where you can listen live. You can also watch the show live by getting onto our YouTube channel, 93.9 The Eagle live on YouTube. Get some behind-the-scenes info here on the show. Good morning.
putting the fun in dysfunctional. Wake Up Columbia, 93.9 The Eagle.
Individuals who have COVID, what do we do about that?
Neil Cavuto chatting with Dr. Fauci, saying, hey, listen, we got travel restrictions to stop the latest variant of COVID-19. We're doing all these things. We're testing everybody. Heck, we're even saying the folks from some countries, you can't even come here right now. So Neil Cavuto rightly asked Dr. Fauci, okay, that's great. But what about all those people, hundreds of thousands of people illegally coming into the country at the southern border? What about those people?
You know, Neil, I don't have an easy answer for that.
Don't have an answer. Wait, didn't you say just days before that you are science? We're enacting all these restrictions. There's some people, if you're from a certain country, you cannot fly here.
Unless you go to fly to Mexico first.
You can fly to Mexico, walk across the river. You come into the country illegally without getting tested. Dr. Fauci, the guy who proclaimed just days before that, saying, I'm science, says, I don't know. It's almost somebody, do you have a solution to this? We have hundreds of thousands of people just coming through this border with COVID. Do you? I don't know. Whatever.
It's like my Christmas budget right now, you know? I had a budget, but as I've been shopping, I've been finding a lot of things that I wanted. And so if I was telling my husband, are you staying on budget with respect to the Christmas gifts? Yes. Am I over budget on all the things I've already bought for myself? Also, yes.
There's Stephanie Bell. Good morning.
Morning.
Hannah, the producer, is here.
What up?
My name is Branden Rathert. If there's something we can do for you, 874-9390, 874-9390. Coming up, 7 o'clock, Fox is here. Flags nationwide at half-staff for a veteran, a politician, former candidate for president, Bob Dole. Fox is going to have more on this. Matter of fact, 1997. So this was after he had lost the presidential election to Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton winning re-election in 1996. His opponent that year, Bob Dole. But shortly after, and I always thought that as I was starting to come into my political understanding, I remember at the time, I'm like, well, that's interesting. Bob Dole loses presidential election, and right away he's awarded a Medal of Freedom from deserved. Though, much deserved. The guy was injured while serving our country. So he shows up, this Medal of Freedom presentation, President Bill Clinton, everybody's there at the time.
I, Robert J. Dole. Do solemnly swear. Sorry, wrong speech. But I had a dream that I would be here this historic week receiving something from the president. But I thought it would be the front door key.
So even in defeat, a good sense of humor. And that was one of the neat things that I thought about Mr. Dole was back in the day, he could be almost mean, beyond acerbic. And he was well known in Washington, D.C. for that. And then later years kind of turned that weapon of I don't know, almost nastiness. He turned and kind of melded it more into comedy, and it seemed to work for him over the years. Matter of fact, getting commercial endorsements for Viagra and even Pepsi in later years. So he had kind of a personality. Folks said, hey, that's a bankable personality.
Yeah, it makes me think, would any company go to a politician right now and ask them to endorse a product? It really shows you the change over time, because I think companies are so afraid right now to anger one side or the other. I don't think they would. Anybody who's trying to sell a product really pick a politician to promote their product in this day and age.
It's time for the Doment of the Day with Branden Rathert on 93.9 The Eagle.
You know, and there's probably a lot of Hannah-isms in that. Like if somebody is looking for politicians to do endorsements anymore, X-Lax. I'm sure Hannah would have some lines on that. Right? The jokes could potentially be endless on what you could use. Your Dolman of the Day, dumb people in the news doing dumb things. We are right here in Missouri. Guy in Kansas City. Busted. It's easy. Security camera footage, number one. Number two, he didn't even try hiding up his face, nor did he try covering up that distinctive tattoo on his face.
It wouldn't be like 1980. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. There are numerous reports the U.S. may impose a diplomatic boycott on the Winter Olympics in China over human rights concerns. U.S. athletes would still go to compete in February, unlike the 1980 full boycott of the Summer Olympics in Moscow. China is already reacting. Fox's Simon Owen has that live.
Dave, China is preemptively threatening what it calls firm countermeasures. A spokesperson at the Foreign Ministry in Beijing said a boycott would be an outright political provocation. He accused U.S. politicians of grandstanding over the issue. Members of Congress are pressing the White House to skip the games after the U.S. accused China of an ongoing genocide against minority Muslims. Dave?
Simon, a further crackdown by Burma's military after a coup this year, convicting deposed and jailed leader Aung San Suu Kyi of numerous alleged crimes in what the UN calls a sham trial. Suu Kyi won a Nobel Peace Prize for suffering years of house arrest under Burma's military rule, then becoming elected leader after being freed. The Omicron COVID variant keeps spreading, confirmed in at least 17 states.
I certainly am concerned about the possibility that this is going to spread, more easily than other variants.
Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy tells Fox News Sunday it's still too early to know how severe it'll be, but Dr. Anthony Fauci says there are encouraging signs Omicron may not be as bad as Delta. As of today,
U.S. citizens and foreign nationals coming in by air from overseas must show proof of a negative COVID test taken within 24 hours of travel.
That's Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Flags are at half-staff at the White House and at government buildings for Bob Dole, a wounded World War II veteran turned Senate leader and Republican presidential candidate in 1996. The president called him a dear friend. Dole died at age 98 after a battle with lung cancer. America's listening to Fox News.
More than 1 in 3 people will face cancer in their lifetime. Unfortunately, fear can stop you from getting cancer screening, but it won't stop cancer. Early detection can save your life. Don't wait for symptoms to appear to act. Cancer screening is safe, effective, and accessible for everyone, including free or low-cost screening programs. Go to CancerScreenQuiz.com now and take the American Cancer Society's 2-minute cancer screening quiz to find out what screening tests are right for you. Don't wait. Take the quiz. Get screened. Go to CancerScreenQuiz.com now. CancerScreenQuiz.com.
Dell Technologies' end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech. Save big on the latest computers powered by Intel Core processors for your small business. Don't forget to shop servers, storage, and top brand electronics with savings up to 45% and all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor to help you find the right tech for your business needs at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
.939 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. Right now, it is 31 degrees in Columbia. Our sunrise will happen here in a few minutes at 7:12. Days continue to get shorter. Sunset at 4:47. It's going to be chilly today. Our high will only be around 37 degrees. Your complete forecast from meteorologist Kevin Schneider coming up here in a few moments. Good morning, everyone. A jury selected in western Missouri's Clay County has been brought here to Columbia for a high-profile murder trial that will start here in about an hour and a half. It's a case with ties to Columbia, Jefferson City, Montgomery County, and it's also getting national attention as Court TV is in the courtroom today. They'll be handling some of this coverage live. The Columbia Daily Tribune notes it's being called the Snake King case. 33-year-old Lindley Rennick is charged with first-degree murder, armed criminal action, in the 2017 death of her husband, Ben. He was a snake breeder who sold snakes, pythons, anacondas. Our news partner, ABC 17, has reported that Ben Rennick was shot 8 times, including 2 shots to his face. Online court records show that Boone County Judge Kevin Crane has denied Lindley Rennick's motion to prohibit a number of graphic photos. It is unclear what those photos are. A second suspect, Michael Humphrey of Jefferson City, was convicted of murder in October. Prosecutors say Humphrey drove Lindley Rennick to the farm where the murder happened. Again, the case is being heard here in Columbia. It's been venued from Montgomery County. The jury is from Clay County. They have been brought here to Columbia for the trial. A celebration of life event is scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. Remember, a Columbia motorcyclist who was killed in last week's collision on North Providence. 25-year-old Skylar Maddox killed by an alleged drunk driver who failed to yield when making a turn. Maddox worked at Gilbane Motorsports on Columbia's Nebraska Avenue. They're organizing tomorrow's event, 2 to 4 Wave Cider Company, which is next to Gilbane. We have a complete story on this, 939theeagle.com. I link to the post from Gilbane. You can see more details in their entirety. A Columbia man is dead after a weekend crash, Highway 63 near Conley Road. Columbia police say 26-year-old Cameron Acton was traveling southbound on Highway 63 near the connector ramp early Sunday morning. His vehicle left the road. It also went down an embankment and overturned. There have been 8 shootings in downtown Columbia since mid-September. The city council here presentation tonight from their health director, Stephanie Browning, about the mayor's task force on community violence and the recommendations they made back in November 2014. Ms. Browning is also expected to discuss highlights from that report. Columbia Councilman Matt Pitzer has said that CPD officers are working long hours and overtime to try to stop the violence. Tonight's meeting will start at 7 o'clock. Also on the agenda tonight is the issue of a proposed new fire station near St. Charles and East Richland Roads. The Columbia officials say it's an optimal location to allow more timely responses for all areas in the city. Council approved the project back in 2019. Voters approved it as well. Residents near West Columbia's Louisville Park could soon see a new permanent outdoor warning siren.
Columbia City Council will first read a bill tonight authorizing an agreement with Boone County Emergency Management for the siren's installation. Emergency management officials say the area near Louisville Drive and Louisville Park lacks adequate siren coverage. The proposed siren would be paid for by Boone County and will be located near Louisville Drive and Whitefish Court. There would be no cost to Columbia for installation or operation under the bill that will be first read. Don Luzader, 93.9 The Eagle.
All right, Don, thanks. And again, the council will vote on that actual issue of the tornado siren at the next council meeting, which will be later this month. And you'll soon have a chance to take a look at the Veterans United Holiday Lights extravaganza that is going on in South Columbia. VU is offering the free event. It begins tomorrow night. Kylie Lawhead of Veterans United says you'll experience a 1-mile loop of lights, holiday displays, and also music.
So we've got about a mile-long journey of lights that go through a couple different themed areas, from an enchanted forest to a frozen and even a light-up and musical light tunnel.
And that VU light display will start tomorrow night. It's open every night through December the 19th, 7 to 10:30. Columbia Police will be on hand every night assisting with traffic flow. You must access Southampton Drive from State Farm Parkway. The traffic flow around the VU campus accommodates about 1,000 cars each evening. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you on this busy Monday morning by the Candy Factory. The Candy Factory gets you set up with a delicious chocolate gift to show your appreciation. This holiday season, stop by the Candy Factory, downtown Columbia. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:08. In sports, great game last night. Anytime you have Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth at Arrowhead, it's a big game. It always is. Chiefs and the Denver Broncos, so the Chiefs win it by a score of 22-9. 3 baseball players with Missouri ties have been elected to the Hall of Fame: Buck O'Neil, Jim Cott, and Minnie Minosa. O'Neil, a 2-time All-Star first baseman in the Negro Leagues. He helped found the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City. If you've ever been to Cooperstown, you'll notice there is a life-size statue of Buck O'Neil there, but he is formally going to be inducted this coming summer. Jim Cott pitched for 25 seasons, over 4 decades. Started with the Washington Senators in 1959. Played for the Cardinals 1980 to 83, 16 Gold Gloves. Minnie Minosa played 1 year for the Cardinals back in 1962. College football, Mizzou football heading to the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl in Texas this month. They'll take on the triple option team Army December 22nd, 7 o'clock, Carter Stadium. And the Mizzou women's basketball team falls to number 5 Baylor on Saturday, 70-68. Our sports also brought to you this hour by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:09. All right, Kevin, thanks so much. Weather brought to you by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning. For all your heating needs, log on to airserve.com. 31 degrees.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And our traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. Visit MidmoHires.com to find a job or to post your job opening today. Roads right now are pretty quiet in mid-Missouri. You will notice if you're downtown a large satellite truck that says Court TV. They're in town today to cover the Lindley Rennick trial. Also, don't forget a lot of activity in downtown Jefferson City tonight at the Governor's Mansion. They will have candlelight tours going on tonight, 6 to 8. So extra people downtown Jeff City tonight as well. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. Breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Ladies and gentlemen, delegates to the convention, and fellow citizens, I cannot say it more clearly than in plain speaking. I accept your nomination to lead our party once again to the presidency of the United States.
Bob Dole. dying over the weekend at the age of 98. And when I first heard the news, I said, okay, yeah, presidential candidate, longtime senator from the state to the left of us in Kansas. But for me, those weren't the first things that came to mind. It was his commercial endorsements. I don't know if anybody remembers these. We'll get into those coming up at 8:10 this morning here on 93.9 The Eagle. Welcome into Wake Up Columbia. This is Stephanie Bell.
Good morning.
There's Brian Hauswirth.
Good morning.
Hannah, the producer.
What up?
I'm Branden Rathert. One of our local state reps, Sara Walsh, running for that 4th congressional district seat, currently held by Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler, who's leaving because she's running for the U.S. Senate seat, being vacated by Roy Blunt. State Rep Sara Walsh recently hanging out with Donald Trump. Ms. Walsh, welcome into the show. What took place in your visit with Mr. Trump?
Well, good morning, everyone. Well, so I was in Florida for a brief campaign visit, and so I'm good friends with Dr. Gina and former Missouri Senator John Loudon. They've been very supportive in my campaign, and so they worked to set up a meeting with President Trump. And so we had an appointment with him at 1 o'clock on Thursday as he was wrapping up his golf game at the Trump International Golf Club. We first had a delicious meal, and then the president walked up to our table and invited us inside to sit around a table and talk. And so for about 10 minutes, we discussed Missouri politics and my race. And briefly, we discussed the Senate race, and he was aware that Vicky Hartzler, he knows her, and was aware of this open seat. He was very engaged in the conversation. He asked questions about my background and that of my opponents, and he asked questions and listened. And one of the things we discussed, I shared with him, I was honored to serve as a Trump delegate, and he was very gracious with his time, even though he was very busy, and he obliged my request for a photo with him. And he's very down to earth and kind and warm-hearted and funny and very approachable. And I've heard all those things, and so wasn't surprised at all.
It is interesting. Anybody I've talked to, including Congresswoman Hartzler, and even people outside of politics, anybody that I've talked to that's had personal dealings with him, and they were saying this even before he became president, is that he's just down to earth. He's very gentlemanlike, and everything that you were seeing on the TV, the way a lot of the news outlets tried portraying him, it was not accurate at all. Got to ask you, this is Sara Walsh. Did you ask for an endorsement?
So I did. I handed the president one of my campaign literature pieces, and I asked for his endorsement. And so he's considering it, and he's very thorough and will do his research before he makes any decisions on whether or not to endorse in the race. I can definitely say I endorse him, and I would expect nothing less, for him to do his homework on everything, and I'd love to have his endorsement. But it was a great honor to meet and visit with him.
How does that work in reality? Because I think of the awkward second grader, when I'd go up and ask a girl to be my, you'd kind of go up and you'd have your hands behind your back and you wouldn't make eye contact. You'd kind of stare at the ground and draw circles with the tip of your shoes and go, oh, gosh, could I get your endorsement, Mr. Trump? Seriously, how does that go for any politician when they are looking for an endorsement?
Well, I don't know about other politicians, but for me, as you know, my humble beginning story, and coming from such a humble background down a dirt road, to be able to meet the president of the United States. I've never had an opportunity to meet a president before, and when I go out to visit the fourth graders as a state representative and share with them about what a state representative does, many times the kids have asked, have you met President Trump? And I've always said not yet. And so, being able to sit right next to him around a round table, and to, I just took my campaign literature piece. I said, Mr. President, this is for you. And he said, oh, well, thank you. And he seemed to appreciate having something, he's a businessman, to have something, to look at. And he looked at both sides of it and read through my literature piece. And it was really amazing, because I've pretty much given the same pitch to people when I go door to door in the district. And so it was really, honestly, not too different. Like I said, he's down to earth. He's a real person, and just wonderful. So, it was such an honor to meet him.
Now, I love going to your office in the Capitol, Sara, because it's, full of memorabilia of your whole life. So I can just see you clearing a prominent space in your office for that framed picture of you and President Trump. Have you already framed it?
Well, I have not framed it yet, but I will say, I'm going to be in the Missouri legislature this next year, this last session, and then, Lord willing, go to Congress. So it will be on my wall there.
Okay. Well, I also, so you said you talked to him a little bit about the Senate race, and when Congressman Long was on our show last, he had said he had talked to Trump about an endorsement, and I think Trump had said he wasn't considering two people. So did he mention anything to you, or did you get any feelings about whether he might endorse someone in that race?
My understanding from the conversation we had, it seemed as if he is, deciding whether or not he's going to endorse in that race and, and things like that. It didn't seem like his mind was made up yet. So we shall see.
Representative Walsh, we appreciate you joining us. If you are elected to Congress, I know you've talked to, obviously, former President Trump and many others about the race. If you're elected, what would be some of your priorities that you really try to focus on if you get to Capitol Hill?
Well, as I've mentioned before on your show, election integrity is vital. That's a major issue. I mean, if we don't have secure elections and integrity of our elections, none of the rest of this matters. And then, of course, border security, defending our police, supporting law enforcement, supporting agriculture, supporting our military. That's critically essential with 2 bases in the district, as well as pro-life, of course. That's always been one of my top priorities, is to support life. And, those are a few of the things that I would fight for. I'd be elected to Congress.
Very good.
Sara Walsh, local state rep, joining us here on 93.9 The Eagle, running for Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler's seat. Anything, we know you had a busy weekend. Stephanie and I were fortunate enough. We saw you Friday night at the Ashland Parade. What a great parade in Ashland Friday night. Hannah, saw you at another parade Saturday night in California. So you're just all over the place. Anything else you want to add before we let you go?
Well, I'm taking my reputation in my current House district of being everywhere to the 4th Congressional District. And, hopefully it'll pay off in August.
All right. And your website?
It is Sara4Missouri.com.
Sara4Missouri.com. Always a pleasure chatting with you. And if there's anything we can do to help the constituents of Missouri and to be of service, let us know.
Just be yourselves.
All right. I like that. Thank you, Sara. 874-9390, 874-9390. Busy weekend, so we got to do the parade in California, Christmas parade. How was that?
It was awesome. The weather was a little chilly, but for this time of year, it was not bad at all.
I know. When's this cold spell going to snap, man? 37 for the high. It's ridiculous, man.
I think we're looking at 60s later in the week, though, right?
Weather's going to be good again. So 37 today, and I think as we get into the latter part of the week, temp's going to be inching back up to 60s. Did the parade Friday night in Ashland. What a great time this was Friday in Ashland.
It was so fun. A huge turnout. Other than the fact that we ran out of candy about 3/4 of the way through the parade.
Was Rathert eating it all?
Well,
he
was not.
So
a couple of our coworkers keep candy dishes on their desk, and he spends most of his day just making his rounds.
So check this out. Again, I have to remember, not everybody has the same sense of humor I do, but Stephanie asked me, hey, do you want to go do this parade? And Friday, and I was just like, well, sure, maybe. And I really had no intentions of doing it. But I thought my intent is, yeah, maybe I'll go. And, it's Friday night, and that's how I roll. So I go, I realized they just wanted me to babysit.
It was awesome.
That's the only reason. They wanted me to take care of the kids.
Are you sure?
He sat on the trailer, and yes, little Eden, 5-year-old Eden, buddied up with Branden and sat right next to him, and he basically held on to her so she wouldn't fall off the whole time. It was so sweet.
There's no telling what he taught her during the course of this parade.
Here's what I taught them. It never occurred, and it's Stephanie's 3 kids, and they've got some friends, and so I'm looking through the stuff, because we're going to be throwing stuff, and I started eating some of the Rice Krispies treats. And these kids were amazed, Hannah. It never occurred to them that, oh, hey, candy just ain't for throwing. It's for us, too. And so
bad influence right
there. I'm surrounded by all these kids, and you hear all the paper tearing because they're eating Rice Krispie treats and bubble gum. And then we ran out of candy towards the end of the parade. Lovely time in Ashland. Appreciated everybody having us. We had chants. So when we ran out of candy, instead of saying Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, second ward Alderman Stephanie Bell ate all the candy. We have no candy to give.
So that's lovely.
The kind of event that it
So
was.
lovely.
Coming up, we are going to be doing What's Hot with Hannah. What do you have for us today, Hannah?
Well, it's one of those stories that really could have been a Domint of the day, but we're just going to put it in What's Hot with Hannah because it fits.
Good. What's Hot with Hannah? We're going to do that coming up for you. 7:25 is here on 93.9 The Eagle. It's Wake Up Columbia. My car now has over 132,000 miles on it. I say that because I went down and saw my dad over the weekend, got to spend some time with him, came back. So it's almost 300 miles round trip. But as I'm cruising down I-70, I'm like, man, this thing runs so nice. And I can't take any responsibility for it. I thought, man, it runs nice. But here's the other thing. You know, sometimes you get a car when it's older and it gets up there in miles. You know, you turn it on every morning and you do that, oh, please don't crap out on me today. I don't get that because the folks at Gap's Automotive Repair Shop, they take care of my car for me. It's got, like I said, over 130,000 miles. They do all the maintenance, you know, the 100,000-mile maintenance, 110,000-mile maintenance. They do all that stuff, and it stays in good running condition. And I have confidence. I don't have those concerns that I'm going to be in the middle of nowhere on I-70 and my car's just going to crap out. And I attribute that to Gap's Automotive Repair Shop in Columbia and in Boonville.
This is the show people are talking about. Wake Up Columbia with Branden Rathert. 93.9 The Eagle.
Yes, Chris Cuomo, one of the most popular anchors at CNN, one of the best-known names in television news, violated journalistic ethics and norms, not once or twice, but many times. And that's ultimately what is the result of today's news, Jim, as you mentioned.
All right, that's Chris Cuomo's former co-worker, Brian Stelter on CNN, dropping the news that Chris Cuomo fired. We said this last week. He was indefinitely suspended. Not only did he violate, according to CNN, journal ethics, but apparently just before he got fired, startling new revelations about him apparently grab-assing at the office.
Yeah, some sexual harassment allegations, I guess, just days, I think, before he was fired. So, I mean...
And he was their highest-rated anchor, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, right? And I don't know if that means anything because I'm looking at Fox News. Remember several years ago, Bill O'Reilly? He was one of the highest, if not the highest-rated anchor on Fox News, and he lost his job because of part of the same things that relates to behavior in the workplace, and he's done just fine. As a matter of fact, doing a couple of big shows with Mr. Trump. I think they're doing one in Dallas, Texas. It's just kind of like it's almost like a concert thing, but he's just going to be doing a Q&A. Bill O'Reilly and Trump is. By the way, I didn't know if you knew this or not, but Bill O'Reilly is here every morning, 5:55 on 93.9 The Eagle. 7:25-ish, which means it's
7:28.
time for What's Out with Hannah.
So we were talking about Mr. Cuomo getting fired. Now we're going to talk about a house fire. It's in Maryland, and the homeowner apparently was trying to rid his house of snakes.
Uh-oh.
And in the process ended up burning down his $1 million home.
So he got rid of the snakes.
Well, you would think. But when firefighters got there, they found a live snake that crawled out of the foundation, so it didn't even work.
Oh, no.
The story is posted on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page. It's one of those stories that you can't make it up.
Oh, man, poor dude. Check that out on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page. The other thing you can do, you can watch this show. Go to YouTube, search 93.9 The Eagle Live.
If you're watching this morning, you can see Branden's T-shirt. It's been a hit on Facebook.
I thought that Hannah had given me this shirt. I thought this was a gift.
No, you are so confused. It's the cold meds.
It says, "Don't get your hopes up. Santa knows where you've been on the internet." Coming up, Fox News is here. By the way, SCOTUS is going to be hearing some more pretty hefty cases this week. We'll get a preview from Fox News. Then Brian Hauswirth is here. City Council, Columbia meets tonight. What are some of their big topics they are going to be covering? We will have that for you. And the thing, Bob Dole, what I first thought of when I learned that Bob Dole, who was presidential candidate in 1996, long-term senator in the state to our left, first thing I thought about when he died. That's coming up at 7:35 here on 93.9 The Eagle. ABC 17 Storm Track forecast, 37 today and then 36 tomorrow. Right now it's 33. Weather is brought to you by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning, ensuring the air in which you live and breathe is comfortable and clean. Learn more, AIRESERV.com.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. The 15-year-old suspect in last week's school shooting in Michigan and his parents are in the same jail, unable to communicate with each other. Fox's Steve Harrigan.
It took a manhunt to bring those parents back to arraign them. Now each of them face counts of involuntary manslaughter. The son is facing 4 counts of first-degree murder. Bond has been set for the parents at $500,000 each, a high bond because there's a real fear of flight risk.
The parents' attorneys denied they gave their son free access to a gun. A cruise ship with at least 17 coronavirus cases on board after a trip to South America is docked in New Orleans.
That's when departing passengers learned people who were on board had tested positive for COVID-19.
It would have been nice to have known, we would have taken maybe a few more precautions.
The cruise line insists those who are positive showed no symptoms, but will quarantine.
Fox's Evan Brown. America's listening to Fox News.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 30 degrees right now in Columbia. Beautiful sunrise. We're expecting a high today of around 37 degrees, 36 right now in Jefferson City. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on at this hour. Opening statements set to begin this morning in Columbia. A high-profile murder trial, a case with ties to Montgomery County, Columbia, and Jefferson City. Those opening statements will begin here in about 58 minutes. 33-year-old Lindley Rennick is charged with first-degree murder in the 2017 death of her husband, Ben, a well-known snake breeder. The victim shot to death at his Montgomery County snake farm. The case has been moved to Boone County on a change of venue. Court TVs, television cameras will be in the courtroom this morning. This case getting national attention. Columbia City Council will be hearing a presentation tonight about violence downtown. They'll also hear an update about the mayor's task force on community violence. That task force formed in 2013 when Bob McDavid served as mayor. Their report was issued in 2014. Health Director Stephanie Browning will be outlining highlights from that report this evening. She'll also discuss recommendations. There have been 8 shootings in downtown Columbia since mid-September. A Columbia man is dead. A horrific weekend crash, Highway 63 near Conley Road. CPD officers say 26-year-old Cameron Acton was southbound on Highway 63 near the connector when he lost control of his vehicle and went down an embankment and overturned. It happened Sunday morning. Acton pronounced dead at the scene. Columbia and Boone County authorities are considering installing a permanent outdoor warning siren at a West Columbia park. The City Council first read the plan tonight. Boone County emergency management officials say the area near Louisville Park has been identified as lacking in adequate siren coverage. This park is near Scott Boulevard. I have more on the story and specifically why this area needs a siren. 939theeagle.com. And you'll soon have a chance to experience a drive-through holiday light spectacular in South Columbia. Veterans United is offering the free event. It starts tomorrow night. BU spokesperson Kylie Lawhead says you'll experience a 1-mile loop of lights, holiday displays, music as well.
So we've got about a mile-long journey of lights that go through a couple different themed areas, from an enchanted forest to a frozen and even a light-up and musical light tunnel. The VU Holiday Lights display will start tomorrow night. It's open every night through December the 19th, 7 to 10:30 p.m. Columbia Police will be assisting with the traffic flow. To get in, you must access Southampton Drive from State Farm Parkway. Traffic flow around the campus accommodates about 1,000 cars each evening. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you on this Monday morning by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning. AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning. For all your heating needs, log on to airserve.com. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:34. In sports, the Missouri Tiger football team is heading to the Armed Forces Bowl in Fort Worth. That is not a bowl that's affiliated necessarily with the SEC, but there were so many teams eligible for bowls in the SEC were being moved to the Armed Forces Bowl. Now, if you look at your calendar, December 22nd, you may notice that is also the evening of the bragging rights game with Illinois, but that is the game that Mizzou will get. Very tough opponent. Army, they are 8-3. They run the triple option. Very solid offense. Missouri is 6-6. Black Knights 8-3. Army Navy play on Saturday at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford. The bowl game, by the way, will be at Amon Carter Stadium in Fort Worth. That is on the campus of TCU, Texas Christian University. Mizzou women's basketball team taking Baylor to the final whistle Saturday in Waco. Number 5 Bears beating Mizzou 70-68. Asia Blackwell, another phenomenal game. 20 points for Mizzou. Tigers now 8-1 on the year, and the Chiefs beat Denver last night 22-9. Our sports brought to you live by the Master of Disaster with the big yellow van, Adam Kinser, ServiceMaster at Columbia.com, 573-443-8383. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:35.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
Traffic check with MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. Visit MidmoHires.com to find a job or to post your job opening today. Roads right now are pretty quiet or have been throughout the morning. If you do want to report a traffic issue, give us a call or a text, 573-874-9390. We'll have more team coverage in less than 30 minutes and breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
We knew that this was a potential bowl. We researched it, and we're just really proud like I said, the level of meaning associated with this bowl, with the military tie-in, with it being Dallas, with it being the state of Texas. We have a rich alumni base. We have student athletes that are from there that get to go home and see their families.
It doesn't matter to me whether it's an SEC affiliate or not.
That is Eli Drinkwitz and also Mizzou Athletic Director Desiree Reed-Francois talking about the Armed Forces Bowl game. And Mizzou is going to 6-6, another year, another bowl game. Another chance to see the kids play.
And more importantly, that's exactly right. And it's an opportunity for the players who've worked hard all season and overcome some adversity. At one point, it looked like a bowl would be out of reach, but they had that huge game, a couple of come-from-behind wins, and it's an opportunity for them. And the other thing that's so important is it gives them about another month of practice that otherwise they would not. That has a huge impact going into spring ball. I've always felt that way. Tough opponent, Navy. I remember the 2009 game, and Navy rushed 2 players basically the whole game and still was able to get in the backfield and get Gabbert several times. Army's a little different. They run a triple option. For people who don't know what it is, it's similar to a wishbone. Very hard to see. You just don't know who has the football. So it'll be a good opponent, a type of offense we just don't see very much.
Welcome into the show. This is Wake Up Columbia. One of the things we are doing, we do it every year. We've had folks asking, hey, when is it? When is it? When is your 1-for-1 holiday food drive? It's coming up Wednesday, December 15th. It's the 93.9 The Eagle Commerce Bank 1-for-1 holiday food drive. We are doing this to benefit the Food Bank of Central and Northeast Missouri. It's Wednesday, December 15th. More info on our website. There's Stephanie Bell.
Good morning.
Welcome into the show.
Thanks. Hey, do you think on these bowls, because they're all sponsored by somebody, right? Do you think the players are ever rooting for, because somebody gets to go to the Cheez-It Bowl, right? Like, and these sponsors, you get a bunch of free stuff from the sponsor, right? So do you think the players are secretly like, man, I really would like some Cheez-Its? I wonder if you looked at all the sponsors, which would be the best one, right?
You know, we know for sure we ain't going to the Rose Bowl or the Orange Bowl or the Fiesta Bowl. So outside of those big bowl games, what do we want? The Cheese Bowl? The Cheez-It Bowl? Poor Boise, Idaho. They have the famous Potato Bowl. And it's right? And it's like, just don't.
I remember
just
when
don't do that bowl game. Just don't. It gives the state of Idaho a bad name.
I remember when I was I think it was in law school or college, Mizzou went to some bowl, and it was the Brute Bowl, and it was sponsored by like the men's cologne or whatever. And there was mixed feelings about whether or not that was a good thing or a bad thing.
Do they still make Brute? I love it because that's the stuff, man. You can find that at Kmart. You can find that Brute at the 5 and Dime. And guess what? Grandpa Rathert got every year for Christmas a gift pack of Brutes.
That is awesome.
And not only did it have the cologne, but it also had the aftershave. What the difference was between the two, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Okay, the 2006 Sun Bowl apparently is what Wikipedia is telling me was sponsored by, maybe? Is that right?
That would have been the Oregon State game.
Yeah.
Yeah, down and up. Went down at the very end of the game.
Yes,
yeah.
That was the Brute Sun Bowl.
Yes, it was. Now, and you know, they have so many different bowls, and they change. I have to keep track of that because I do so many scoreboards, and they change sponsors every year. There used to be a Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl, and
Yum.
There was a Bluebonnet Bowl at one time, a Tangerine Bowl, but also there's a Tony the Tiger Bowl. In the tradition now is instead of getting doused with Gatorade, the winning coach normally gets actually Frosted Flakes and skim milk thrown over their head.
Love it.
So it's just different. It's different every game.
For every man who wears Brute, there's a woman who loves what he smells like. Because there's something about Brute that's nice to be close to. And nobody knows that better than a woman. Brute. It smells like a man.
Hello? Honey, I was just thinking about you.
Brute. It smells like a man.
Oh my gosh.
That threw up in my mouth a little bit.
You couldn't even see it. I could see the commercial. Yikes. Yikes.
That commercial said, something's happening tonight if you put on Brute. That's what it said.
I am convinced some people have lost their taste and smell from COVID and never gotten it back, because I have been some places this year where people's cologne, especially men, have had it on so strong my eyes have watered. Wow. And I've had to move chairs because I'm like, you I don't know. I don't know what's going on there.
I don't know. Do men wear cologne anymore?
Hopefully.
Yeah, they sometimes do. Yeah.
But I think it's something I think. So for me, and this is just me, I'm 50. It's time to put that Menon away. Or any other cologne.
Oh no, I love the smell of cologne on a man.
I do too, but
gosh.
I think as a dude who's 50 years old, that time has passed, I think, for me.
Do you like women wearing perfume?
Yes.
Exactly. Do you know what this reminds me of? Do you remember that meme that I sent you?
Which one?
No, the answer to that question, Stephanie, is no.
It circulated among my girlfriends, but it was husband to wife. I really wish you wore sexier panties, right? And it said, meanwhile, he's wearing, and it had a picture of his underwear that was just completely holy. So as he's telling you need to wear cute panties, his underwear is completely like ripped to shreds, and I don't think I've ever seen anything truer.
Hang in there, fellas. Christmas is just a couple weeks away. You just got to make those underwear last a couple more weeks.
What was some of the other cheesy colognes? There was the green. Was that Menon?
Axe body spray is one of the worst offenders.
Oh my
that
goodness!
Was for like young people.
I Karate. Remember that?
Wow, what fantastic are you wearing?
The audio is not that good because
I didn't understand a word of that.
It was TV in the 60s. Welcome into the show. Did I introduce everybody? That's Hannah, the producer.
What up?
Brian Hauswirth.
Good morning.
Stephanie Bell. I'm Branden Rathert. Bob Dole dying over the weekend. This is interesting. And I hope somebody, I haven't heard this on national news outlets yet. Bob Dole, a long-time politician, served in our state over there to the left. Then ran for president in 1996. And what was it, late 70s? He got this term, infamous, but now probably famous.
Yeah, he was known as the Hatchet Man, and specifically in 1976 because, Jimmy Carter won it was much closer. If you look at that vote in 1976, it was much closer than what people realized. So Bob Dole came close to being vice president. That convention was in Kansas City. I still remember Ronald Reagan and Nancy up there in the balcony waving to the crowd, but Bob Dole was there. Kit Bond was actually on the short list at one time. He was actually considered for the vice presidential nomination, but they ended up with Dole, and Dole had a reputation at that time. Literally, the media referred to him as the Hatchet Man. That's what they called him. He and later became known as someone with a good sense of humor, but that's what they called him then.
The other thing, and I hope somebody covers this, because this really, and I'm not being 16 here, I am incredibly genuine. Everything I'm about to say for the next few minutes, I'm serious. So he runs for president in 1996, doesn't win, gets the Medal of Honor in 1997. 1998, a medication is unleashed in the worldwide marketplace, a game-changing medication, seriously. Mm-hmm. And it was monumental for its time. This medicine that came out, one of, if not the first, he was one of the first celebrity spokespeople for this medication. And the reason why I say it's important is because at the time, this was a delicate topic. It was the late 90s. You just don't come out and talk about something like this. But here's this new medication it's ubiquitous today, worth billions and billions of dollars, probably one of the most prescribed medications outside of antibiotics. 1998, you couldn't talk about it. It was taboo. They took Bob Dole, this longtime politician, this guy who was injured in the war and had that walk. His arm was curled up because of the injuries he suffered during the war. They put this guy on the TV to promote this product.
When I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, I was primarily concerned with ridding myself of the cancer. But secondly, I was concerned about possible post-operative side effects like erectile dysfunction, ED, often called impotence. It's a little embarrassing to talk about ED, but it's so important to millions of men and their partners that I decided to talk about it publicly. And after all, it can be associated with many conditions.
So that was kind of a big deal at the time because that was something you don't talk about. You certainly don't talk about it over the dinner table. You certainly don't talk about it over a TV commercial. But Bob Dole, old white guy, who was, however long ago that was that, 30 years ago, 4 years ago, 1998, said, hey, it's okay to talk about this. Erectile dysfunction, it happens for other reasons. And he made it okay. And then, you're talking about the sense of humor. He became known for his sense of humor because it used to be known as probably as an ignorant brick, really, in D.C. He was not a popular guy. People did not like him because he could be so acerbic. So after several years of then doing the Viagra commercials, he continued with commercials.
Hi, I'm Bob Dole, and I've always spoken to you frankly, no matter what the subject. That's why I'm eager to tell you about a product that put real joy back in my life. It helps me feel youthful, vigorous, and most importantly, vital again. What is this amazing product? My faithful little blue friend, an ice cold Pepsi-Cola.
It was a commercial for Pepsi, and I remember that, and he holds up the can of Pepsi, and that was the big joke. Ha, 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 ha. 93.9 The Eagle at 93.9theeagle.com. A couple of weeks ago, another life-changing, maybe, discovery when it comes to folks who study dinosaurs, and this happened in Missouri. Story that's gotten a lot of national attention.
Yeah, some folks in Missouri dug up a new dinosaur.
And it's important. But I don't know why, though, but I know what he is. Guy Darrow, one of the folks who's been on this dig for years. He joins us 8:35 this morning here on 93.9 The Eagle. Good morning, I'm Branden Rathert for Salter Lawn Service. Salter, one call does it all. Right now doing Christmas lights. Got to hang out with some of the crew, Lance and Christy and a guy named Branden. Incidentally, they were putting up Christmas lights. Baptist Homes in Ashland, and it's pretty neat. So it kind of is how it works. So it's like it's a 5-year plan. What they do is they come out to your house and they measure like everything, get lights that are custom to the measurements that they've taken at your house. They come, Salter Lawn Service comes to your house, they install the lights, and then Salter Lawn Service will come back and take down the lights. That's the best part. Or maybe this is the best part. They store them for you. They'll store them for you for next year. Then next year, Salter Lawn Service will come back to your house and they'll install them. And you shouldn't really need any changes or anything because those Christmas lights have been measured out to fit your house. How cool is that? Custom Christmas lights from Salter Lawn Service. Salter, one call, does it all.
You're listening to Wake Up Columbia with Branden Rathert on 93.9 The Eagle.
And I was amazed beyond imagination. I mean, it's breathtaking. Trillions of dollars of new spending, new taxes, new debt, new welfare programs. The only way I know how to improve it is with a shredder.
John Kennedy, senator from Louisiana, talking about the Build Back Better program, or as Gary Nolan likes to call it, the Build Back Better program. Gary Nolan shows here today from 9 to noon on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. Welcome into the show. Wake Up Columbia. I am Branden Rathert, Stephanie Bell. There is Hannah, the producer. Yes, I'm aware. And I'm sorry. I know it's frustrating probably to listen to sometimes, and I appreciate the text. Gene, thank you. It's very kind of you. People say, sounds like Branden has a sore throat. You're accurate.
I got a message from the master of disaster, Adam Kinzer, and he said, good Lord Almighty, get that guy some water and chocolate.
I'm working on it. Fauci was on Fox. He'd had this self-imposed, I'm boycotting Fox. I'm not going on there because I don't like what they say. And plus, I am science. And he thinks Fox is not. But finally, Fox said, hey, listen, we need to hear from you. So finally, he goes on to the Neil Cavuto show. Neil Cavuto, this is a very important question. We have travel restrictions in place. If you're coming from some countries, you cannot fly here. You cannot come here right now because they want to spread the COVID. We still, if we get on an airplane or go into an airport, we still have to wear masks. People coming across the border of Mexico, they don't have to do jack. Nothing. And there's been hundreds of thousands, and it is still an issue. I know we've had other stories we're kind of paying attention to recently, but just so you know, the border is still an issue. So Neil Cavuto asked Dr. Fauci the other day, say, listen, what are we doing about this? We're stopping people from other countries. We're doing all these measures, but what about there at the southern border?
Individuals who have COVID, what do we do about that?
Great. Here's Fauci, the guy who proclaimed, I am science. I am screw Bill Nye. I am the science guy. But he said he had a lot of ego when he says it. So how does he answer that? And I'm waiting. This is a big issue. Yeah, we have hundreds of thousands of people coming here illegally, and they have COVID. And if everybody's worried about it, why aren't we doing anything there? I'm expecting, finally, an answer from the science guy himself.
Neil, I don't have an easy answer for that.
Hell, I don't know. I don't have an answer for it. Well, aren't you supposed to have an answer? Aren't you, if you, as you say, the guy of science, aren't you supposed to have an answer for that?
You should at least have some response. I mean, you kind of know that question is coming. The problem is there is no response. I mean, there are people, what's wild to me is, I went to conferences this summer when we still had the European travel ban. So people from London, people from Germany, they could not fly here. They had tickets, they were ready to come, and we thought the ban was going to go away. They could not get here. People whose countries have pretty high vaccination rates, people who I know were vaccinated. All the while, guess what's happening on our southern border? And so, it's hurting our country, and it makes absolutely no sense. And so, they look at people who are hesitant about vaccines or who are whatever, and they say, but I think we're the ones who are following the science and following the numbers. Yeah. And how can you look at what's happening at the border and think about how any of these other decisions make any sense whatsoever?
And a lot of the progressives, conservatives are making it political. You're making it political, but if you want to make it political, okay, first states to get the Omicron variant: California, blue state; Hawaii,
Colorado,
blue; New York,
blue.
All of them blue. First area in Missouri to get the Omicron virus: St. Louis, overwhelmingly
blue.
Huh. Do you see a theme here?
A new COVID vaccine mandate. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It's for New York City, and it's the strictest one yet in the nation. Mayor Bill de Blasio will require everyone who works for any private company get a shot by December 27th, in addition to public employees already mandated in the city. Now, the Omicron COVID variant is confirmed in New York and at least 16 other states, but Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy told Fox News Sunday he's not sure yet
whether the increased spread is being driven by greater transmissibility, or whether it's being driven by a different sensitivity to our vaccine protections or protection from prior infection.
He's urging people to keep wearing masks indoors. COVID cases across the U.S. rose last week, hitting a 2-month high. Charges may be coming in Michigan against anyone who helped the parents of an accused school shooter hide in a Detroit warehouse until they were found Saturday. Fox's Jeff Manasso is on the case live.
Dave, Jennifer, and James Crumbly remain jailed on 4 counts of manslaughter each, accused of supplying their son with a gun used in the Oxford High School shooting last week. And as a third-party probe is set to look into why police were not contacted amid numerous warning signs, including a note on the suspect's desk, hours before he allegedly opened fire.
The drawing of a bullet with the following words above that bullet, quote, blood everywhere, end quote.
Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald, 4 students were killed. Another 7, including a teacher, were hurt. Dave.
Jeff, there are multiple reports the U.S. may issue a diplomatic boycott on the upcoming Winter Olympics in China over human rights issues, but American athletes would still compete. U.S. flags are at half-staff for Bob Dole, wounded war veteran turned Senate leader and Republican presidential candidate.
Cindy McCain, widow of late Senator John McCain, wrote on Twitter, "Rest in peace, Bob Dole. You're the last of the lions of the Senate." Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders provided this. Bob Dole served his country with courage on the battlefield and with dignity in the Senate.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff. America's listening to Fox News.
More than 1 in 3 people will face cancer in their lifetime. Unfortunately, fear can stop you from getting your cancer screening, but it won't stop cancer. Early detection can save your life. Don't wait for symptoms to appear to act. Cancer screening is safe, effective, and accessible for everyone, including free or low-cost screening programs. Go to cancerscreeninfo.com right now for free screening resources and recommendations from the American Cancer Society. Don't wait. Early detection can save your life. Go to cancerscreeninfo.com today. cancerscreeninfo.com.
Dell Technologies' end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech. Save big on the latest computers powered by Intel Core processors for your small business. Don't forget to shop servers, storage, and top brand electronics with savings up to 45% and all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor to help you find the right tech for your business needs at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
.939 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 8:03, 31 right now in Columbia. It's 29 degrees in Jefferson City. We're expecting a chilly day today, albeit sunny today. Our high only around 37 tonight. If you're heading out to candlelight tours at the Governor's Mansion, you'll definitely want to bundle up because our temperature will be around the freezing degree mark. Good morning, everyone. A jury selected in western Missouri's Clay County is here in Columbia in a high-profile murder trial that is getting national attention. The opening statements will start here in about 27 minutes. Live coverage on Court TV on and off today. This case has ties to Columbia, Jefferson City, Montgomery County. The Columbia Daily Tribune notes it's being called the Snake King case. 33-year-old Lindley Rennick is charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action in the 2017 death of her husband, Ben. He was a snake breeder who sold snakes, pythons, anacondas. He was shot 8 times, 2 to his face. The injuries were so serious that originally authorities believed he had been attacked by snakes. That's according to our news partner, ABC 17. Online court records show that Boone County Judge Kevin Crane has denied Lindley Rennick's motion to prohibit a number of graphic photos. It is unclear what those photos are. We'll probably find out this morning. A second suspect, Michael Humphrey of Jefferson City, was convicted of murder in October. Prosecutors say Humphrey drove Lindley Rennick to the farm where the murder happened. So again, to recap, it's a Montgomery County case. moved to Boone County on a change of venue. The jury selected in Clay County moved here. Dan Knight is not handling this case. The Missouri Attorney General's office is prosecuting the case, and again, opening statements at 8:30 this morning. Meantime, the owner of a Columbia business that employed the motorcyclist who was struck and killed by an alleged drunk driver last week, thanking the community for donations to the family. 25-year-old Skylar Maddox died last Tuesday. He worked at Gilbane Motorsports on Nebraska. They've posted details on Facebook about tomorrow's celebration of life. 2 to 4, it'll be at Wave Cider next to the shop. There are also GoFundMe efforts trying to raise money for Mr. Maddox's funeral arrangements. We have more on this, and I also link to Gilbane Motorsports' post where you can learn more about tomorrow's event on our website, 939theeagle.com. That new COVID variant that is receiving national attention is now in the Show Me State.
Health officials Friday confirmed the state's first presumed case of the Omicron virus variant in a St. Louis person. That resident recently traveled within the U.S. It was unclear if they were vaccinated. U.S. health officials say while the Omicron variant of coronavirus is spreading rapidly, it may be less dangerous than Delta. John Marsh, 93.9 The Eagle.
Columbia officials say a proposed new fire station near St. Charles and East Richland Roads is an optimal location to allow more timely responses for all areas of the city. Columbia City Council will be meeting tonight. They'll hold a public hearing on the issue, and they're also scheduled to vote on acquisition of property for Fire Station 10. City Council approved the project in 2019. Voters approved it as well. It's a $3.2 million project. The new fire station will be funded by capital improvement sales tax money. That cost includes land acquisition, design, utilities as well. Residents near West Columbia's Louisville Park could soon see a new permanent outdoor warning siren. Columbia City Council will first read a bill tonight. It authorizes an agreement with Boone County Emergency Management for the siren's installation. This would be built near Louisville Drive in Whitefish Court. Emergency management officials tell us the area near Louisville Drive lacks adequate siren coverage. No cost to the city for installation or operation. Under the bill to be first read, Boone County would pay the entire bill. And a top Columbia realtor, who's the former head of the nation's largest trade association, says nothing disrupts the cycle of poverty like home ownership. Remax Boone Realty Chief Executive Officer Elizabeth Mendenhall says it changes the entire makeup of communities.
When people own homes, they generally have higher education. There is less teen pregnancies in the houses. There is less crime in the areas.
She spoke Saturday on 93.9 The Eagle CEO Roundtable, telling host Fred Perry there are barriers to affordable housing here in Columbia. She says the average income here is $26,000. The medium home here, $250,000. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you on this Monday morning by the folks at AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning, ensuring the air in which you live and breathe is comfortable and clean. AirServe.com. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:07. In sports, we have a lot of stuff going on in sports. Let's start with the Baseball Hall of Fame. 3 baseball players with Missouri ties have been elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. A lot of media attention on Buck O'Neil and Jim Cott. Not many realize Minnie Minoso played for the St. Louis Cardinals back in 1962. Pretty good player, to say the least. He was known as the Cuban Comet. Buck O'Neil, 2-time All-Star first baseman. Negro Leagues helped found the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City. And he also has a life-size statue in Cooperstown right now. Jim Cott, 25 years, 4 decades. Started in 1959 with the Washington Senators, 16 Gold Gloves. Finished his career with the Cardinals under Whitey Herzog, 1980 to 1983. Minnie played for the Cardinals in 1962. College football, Mizzou heading to the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl in Fort Worth this month. December 22nd, they'll take on Army. 7 o'clock that night, ESPN coverage. National television, and Mizzou women losing to number 5 Baylor Saturday, 70 to 68. Our sports is brought to you this hour by Woods Basement Systems, the most reviewed contractor for all things with your basement. 800-388-9326. Free estimate. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:09. All right, Kevin, thanks. Good to hear your voice, and welcome back. Right now, our weather is brought to you this hour by airserv.com. AirServ Heating and Air Conditioning, 31 degrees.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
It's 8:09. Traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. Find a job. Post your job opening today. Roads have been pretty quiet on this Monday morning. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. Breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Time to musk up. Never ceases to amaze me. What cologne you gonna go with? London Gentleman or... Wait. No. Hold on. Blackbeard's Delight. No. She gets a special cologne. It's called Sex Panther by Odeon. It's illegal in 9 countries. It's made with bits of real panther, so you know it's good.
It's quite pungent.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, it's a formidable scent. Stings the nostrils. Brian, I'm going to be honest with you. That smells like pure gasoline.
They've done studies, you know. 60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, let's go see if we can make this little kitty purr.
What are they doing opening up on Wake Up Columbia on 93.9 The Eagle? Did you hear these guys this morning? Their audio was a scene from Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy.
I didn't approve this.
The famous Sex Panther scene, the cologne that he's sporting as he's trying to date Veronica Corning. So we brought that up. We got onto a tangent about bowl games. Mizzou's going to a bowl game. You get 6 wins, you get to go to a bowl game. Not all bowl games are prestigious bowl games. It's a good excuse for the kids to get in another game. Gives us a chance as Mizzou football fans to watch another game and go into a nice bowl game in Texas.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you hope for good weather. Amon Carter Stadium is a beautiful facility. They have spent more than $400 million there, and that's almost all private money, to say the least, with donors. They got a lot of money down there at TCU, so that facility is incredible. And it gives the players, especially there's a lot of players, Branden, who have never played in a bowl game. Some of the offensive linemen that transferred in. So it's a great opportunity for them. You practice another month, gives them a chance for that. And a quality opponent, a very good opponent. This should be a great game. We just don't see the triple option very much.
And didn't you have some relative that played in a bowl game years ago, but it was one of those like the Cheese Ball Bowl or something like that?
Yeah, my brother-in-law. No, it was the Brute Bowl, and it was in 06. And it was, what was it, the Sun Bowl?
It would have been the Sun Bowl when they took on Oregon State.
And so my question is, obviously, if you're a player and you know you're going to a bowl, I think you have hopes of which one you go to. And once you know you're like knocked out of like the real prestigious bowls, you're probably like location, right? You want to go someplace cool. And then B, I wonder, do they consider like the sponsors? Because like now there's the Cheez-It Bowl. And, Cheez-Its are pretty good. That would be, like, on the top of my list, really. But then, yeah, there like years ago, there was a Brute Bowl. And so you get, like, free swag from the sponsor. And so, I mean, some swag's probably a little bit better than others.
And those sponsors change out so much. That's a great question, and I don't know the answer. GalleryFurniture.com, Buffalo Wild Wings. I mean...
you said the Frosted Flakes, folks.
The Tony the Tiger Bowl is still around, yes, and the coach gets basically Frosted Flakes dumped on his head if he wins.
And it was Brute was the sponsor?
Yes.
And I don't even know, do they make that? Because Brute was like, that's the stuff you found in the gift packs. That's what you bought for Grandpa every year at Kmart for Christmas.
Now maybe it's Old Spice?
There's Old Spice. And we're talking about all those other colognes that you could get for like, I don't know, $3.99. But you get not just the cologne, you got the aftershave and everything that went with it.
That every pack of High Karate carries essential instructions on self-defense. High Karate aftershave. Be careful how you use it.
High karate aftershave.
It's like the scene from Home Alone. We just watched that with my kids where he puts the aftershave on and then he screams because it's just, it's like straight gasoline. It just burns.
Welcome into the show. This is Wake Up Columbia. Hopefully you've had a great weekend. Bob Dole, elder statesman, dying at the age of 98. Long storied political career. He was a veteran, served our country amicably, and I hope, and I saw this, and I'm not comparing him to John McCain, but I know when John McCain wasn't popular, even in his own party, especially towards the end. But I got to say that when John McCain died, he did serve our country, and it broke my heart to hear how people would talk ill about him. I didn't know the guy. I had some personal dealings with him over the years. He was always very kind, always very gracious. But in death, I wonder, at what point do you say, you know what, you just don't need to say, sometimes if you can't say something nice about somebody, then don't say it at all. And usually I don't care. I'm laissez-faire, man. Hands off. I don't get into other people's business. But I do form an opinion of people when they start saying bad things about John McCain. I may not say, well, you're unscrupulous to be talking about somebody like that. But I do form an opinion of you. Now, it's different. I'm not talking about like O.J. Simpson. If you talk negative about O.J. Simpson, yeah, there's a lot there. And I hope it doesn't happen with Bob Dole. Coming up on the show, this was a big deal a couple of weeks ago, and it's still a big deal. Dinosaur bones found in Missouri. And it's not the first time, but the stature of what was found is apparently a pretty big deal. This was going on Thanksgiving Day weekend. Like, you couldn't turn on the news, national news, without seeing what was happening with this.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, anytime your state is kind of the hotbed for science or, a big project, anyone in this field, this is like an incredible discovery. And I just have to wonder what that moment was like, that you're digging and suddenly you think this could be something. And then, wow, this could really, oh my gosh. And then to realize you discovered a dinosaur that had never been discovered before. Incredible.
One of the guys who's been involved, and by the way, this wasn't like on a Friday they went out and started digging and then covered this on a Tuesday. This has been going on for years. One of the guys who'd been involved in this dig for a lot of years, his name is Guy Darrow. He's going to be joining us at 8:35 because if I'm being honest, it's one of those, I know it's a big deal because everybody's talking about it. It's gotten us national attention, but I don't know why it's a big deal. Because last time we got nationwide attention is, oh, wait, this morning for this trial of the snake dealer or the snake dealer who was killed several years ago here in mid-Missouri. As a matter of fact, where we are situated, right next door, the folks from Court TV have been hanging out. So if you see a Court TV van cruising around town, it's because, they're here for this trial, and a story that Brian Hauswirth has been covering for you on the Eagle this morning. Some other things that happened this weekend. So Chris Cuomo, he is officially gone. So we knew CNN, and listen, I backed Chris Cuomo a little bit. He used some of his work resources, used some things available to him at work to try to help his brother. I've done that. I've used my work privilege to try to help people. I think people in law enforcement have used their work privilege to try to help somebody. But what he did to help them, he was doing it to try to damage people that were going after his brother, the now former governor of New York. So Chris Cuomo, he was suspended indefinitely, which basically, means, he's fired. A lot of people thought, he's going to come back. He's going to come back. Well, apparently CNN learning that somebody had made some claims that in the workplace he had acted inappropriately. So here's one of his former coworkers. Can you imagine what that's like? Brian Stelter, who's like the media guy for CNN. He's the one, while he's doing a hit yesterday, he gets the news that Chris Cuomo has been fired. Now, since Brian Stelter covers media stuff, he covers Chris Cuomo, in effect, being fired now.
Yes, Chris Cuomo, one of the most popular anchors at CNN, one of the best-known names in television news, violated journalistic ethics and norms, not once or twice, but many times. And that's ultimately what is the result of today's news, Jim. As you mentioned, Cuomo just terminated by CNN.
A couple of things. Number one, can you imagine? I couldn't imagine, what if Stephanie or Hannah were fired and management wants me to come on air and make a statement about somebody I'd consider my friends. I don't know. I don't know what the relationship with Brian Stelter and Chris Cuomo was.
I don't think Chris Cuomo had any friends. He seemed like a really sleazy dude. And I guess, I mean, he kind of went down the same way that his brother did, in that I guess these sexual harassment allegations didn't really come out until he got on air and started saying, oh, I'm into women's issues, and they should have due process, right? Or, there should be due process, and these things should be investigated. It was really kind of trying to say that he stood on the side of women. And that's when according to her lawyer, this person said, I can't let him be out there saying these things, that he, is with women or, whatever. And that's when she said, I got to speak up. He's a hypocrite. And that's really kind of what happened to his brother too, is when he kind of came out and said, hey, here's where I'm at. And they were like, oh, wait, no, now I'm, before when you were silent, I'm not, I'll just sit in the background. But if you're going to say something that I know to be false, now I'm just going to step forward and tell people what's up. And that's what happened with him too.
Locally, I'll tie that into something happening locally. So I'm guessing there's a bunch of people. And we heard on Chris Cuomo's radio show last week, this woman called into his show and was singing praises on how his brother was the only national leader during COVID. So this woman, number one, severely misinformed about facts, but she's listening to Chris Cuomo's show, so that tells you something. But it's also this, and the exact word that was used, hypocrisy. He's a hypocrite. He was saying, now these women, if what my brother did, if that stuff is true, then it's horrible because I support. And he was doing the same thing. And we see that what's happening with some people in the school district, Columbia Public School District specifically. And I think that's what people are thinking about Chris Cuomo. You see him, people that watched his show and were watching him every night, they think they know the guy and, oh, he's so nice and he's this upstanding dude. And all these people that he's let down. Because, wait a minute, you're a hypocrite and you lied. You were saying you were all about supporting women in the workplace. You were doing the exact same thing. And that is disappointing. And I'm experiencing that right now with people I know locally that I'm like, I didn't think you had this dishonesty in you. I thought you were an up and up person, but I see you lying on an almost regular basis to local parents about what's happening in schools. That is devastating. I can imagine how a bunch of the people that were fans of Chris Cuomo feel. He might do okay. I'll look to Bill O'Reilly. Remember, Bill O'Reilly was on Fox. Basically, he was ousted. Same thing. He was inappropriate with women at work. We believe in second chances here at 93.9 The Eagle. Put him on here. He's got something called the O'Reilly Report. The Bill O'Reilly Report airs every morning, 5:55 here on 93.9 The Eagle, and has done really well. And he's got his. Do you call it a TV show if it's on the internet, or do you just call it a podcast? But he's got a show on the internet.
YouTube channel.
That you can go and watch, just like we do here on our show. If you go to YouTube, you can search 93.9 The Eagle Live, and you can watch Wake Up Columbia. And in the mornings when you're getting ready for work and everything, you can put us up on the smart TV, and that way everybody can hear the news, hear what's going on. What do you have in the daily
Morning Bell?
Thank you.
The Morning Bell.
Sorry, I was going to say daily DC rundown. Morning Bell. Coming up. Sorry, I'm on cold meds right now. Forgive me.
Some other folks you should add to your Christmas list if you haven't already.
political opinion? We got your back. Wake Up Columbia, 93.9 The Eagle.
The low in this sample is Houston at 291, and the high is San Francisco 480. Between those, Minneapolis is 317, Long Island 348.
All right, it's Trilby Lindbergh's gas prices high. They're actually down here locally, but nationwide down about.
Did you knock on wood, please?
before we say it out loud. All right, 8:28, time for the Morning Bell with Stephanie Bell. A little business news with that little twist that only Stephanie Bell can get you.
Sure. So the holidays are coming up, and, we're big supporters here of local businesses and some folks that you should add to your Christmas list if you have not already. Creditcards.com recently came out with a survey about who to tip and how much. And so they're saying that on average, people are tipping their childcare providers about $50, tipping their housekeepers about 41%, but then also tipping people like your landscapers and wouldn't call it tipping for a teacher, but providing some gifts for teachers, trash collectors, and mail carriers who are working overtime this season. But a lot of these folks, childcare teachers, our mail carriers, those folks, these people did not get it. Well, I guess teachers took some time off, but a lot of these people have been working double duty over the last 2 years and have really, been carrying more than what their job had called for. And so thinking about those folks, in your everyday life, not, a lot of people shop on Amazon, they do that, but let's look around the people in your circle who have really kept your life going. Like my people at my salon, I like to give a little bit of extra around the holidays.
This does not happen by accident.
Right?
Somebody makes this look good, and
Exactly.
they should be tipped.
And most of those people are local to our community, and so giving them an extra little bump, I think, is important.
How much do you tip somebody? Like the other night after the Christmas parade in Ashland, I ordered some food that I was going to pick up. And I'm like, how much?
Oh, that's so hard.
I just give them $5.
Yeah.
Just because. Coming up, Fox News is here. Supreme Court's going to hear some more important cases this week. Little preview coming up from Fox News. Brian Hauswirth is here. You might be seeing court TV vehicles in town. How come? He has the answer for that coming up here on 93.9 The Eagle. I have your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast. Sunny, 73 today, 25 tonight. About the same thing tomorrow, high 36. Close to 50 on Wednesday. Right now it's 35. Weather is brought to you by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning, ensuring the air in which you live and breathe is comfortable and clean. For all of your heating needs, log on to AIRESCRV.com, airserve.com.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio announces a coronavirus vaccine mandate for all private sector workers in the city as of December 27th. It's the first mandate of its kind in the country. New York's one of at least 17 states with cases of the new Omicron coronavirus variant. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy says there's no reason to panic.
We are not back in March 2020, despite the prospect of a new variant, Omicron, on the horizon, and despite the fact that we found cases here. We have more tools, we have more knowledge to protect ourselves.
He was on Fox News Sunday. Kennedy Center honors for Lifetime Achievement in the Arts are presented to Motown Records founder Berry Gordy, Saturday Night Live boss Lorne Michaels, actress and singer Bette Midler, opera singer Justino Diaz, and folk musician Joni Mitchell. President Biden at the ceremony in D.C.
As a group, in your own ways, you've brought people together. You've made us laugh, you made us cry, you made us sing, you made us dance.
America's listening to Fox News.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 8:31, 31 degrees our current temperature right now in Columbia. We're expecting a high of around 37 degrees, 29 in Jefferson City. Good morning, everyone, and here's some of the stories that we are working on for you at this hour. Any moment now at the Boone County Courthouse here in Columbia, opening statements will be starting in a high-profile murder trial, a case with ties to Montgomery County, Columbia, and Jefferson City. Court TV is here in Columbia. You've seen their satellite truck parked in downtown Columbia. They will be here all week for the trial. 33-year-old Lindley Rennick is charged with first-degree murder in the 2017 death of her husband, Ben, a well-known snake breeder. He was shot multiple times at his Montgomery County snake farm. Court TV notes that his skull was crushed when he was killed. The case was moved to Boone County on a venue change. The jury has been selected in western Missouri's Clay County. Columbia City Council will be hearing a presentation this evening about the violence downtown. They'll also hear an update about the mayor's task force on community violence. The task force formed in 2013 when Bob McDavid was mayor. Their report was issued in November 2014. The health director, Stephanie Browning, will be outlining highlights from that report tonight, also talking about recommendations. There have been 8 shootings in downtown Columbia since mid-September. Celebration of Life event set for tomorrow afternoon, I should say, to remember the Columbia motorcyclist who was killed in last week's collision on North Providence. 25-year-old Skylar Maddox, killed by an alleged drunk driver who failed to yield when making a turn. Maddox worked at Gilbane Motorsports on Columbia's Nebraska Avenue. They're organizing the event tomorrow, Celebration of Life, 2 to 4 at Wave Cider. That is next to Gilbane. I have a link to that post along with my story, 939theeagle.com. Columbia and Boone County authorities considering installing a permanent outdoor warning siren in a West Columbia park. That'll be tonight. They'll first read it. The park is called Louisville Park. It is near Scott Boulevard. And you'll have a chance starting tomorrow to experience a drive-through holiday light spectacular in South Columbia. Veterans United Home Loans is offering the free event. Starts tomorrow night, runs through the 19th. Spokesperson Kylie Lawhead of VU says you'll experience a 1-mile loop of lights, music, and holiday displays.
So we've got about a mile-long journey of lights that go through a couple different themed areas, from an enchanted forest to a frozen and even a light-up and musical light tunnel. It's an amazing sight. I have some pictures of the facility, 939theeagle.com. They had a media event, and I took several pictures. Columbia Police will assist with the traffic flow. You must access Southampton Drive from State Farm Parkway, and the traffic flow around the campus accommodates about 1,000 cars each evening. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you on this Monday morning by Hemi Construction. Hemi Construction, homes and lots in the southwest neighborhoods of Chapel Hill Meadows, Nursery Heights, and Creek's Edge. 93.9 The Eagle News time, 8:34. In sports, 3 players, baseball players with ties to Missouri, heading to the Hall of Fame in baseball in Cooperstown: Buck O'Neill, Jim Cott, Minnie Minosa. Congratulations to all 3 other players. And Tony Oliva, don't want to leave him out as well, though he doesn't have many ties to Missouri. An incredible career with the Minnesota Twins. Tony going in as well. College football, Mizzou heading to the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, Fort Worth this month. Mizzou will be playing Army December the 22nd, 7 o'clock, Carter Stadium in Fort Worth. Carter Stadium is on the campus of Texas Christian. Beautiful facility. If you've never been there, they put $400 million into that facility, all donated by the donors and the alumni down there at TCU. They're the Horned Frogs. That's where the stadium is. Tigers 6-6, Black Knights 8-3, heading into the Army-Navy rivalry game on Saturday, and tickets for the bowl game on sale now. Mizzou women's basketball team taking number 5 Baylor to the final whistle Saturday in Waco. Bears beat Mizzou 70-68. Blackwell with 20 points for Mizzou. They are now 8-1 on the year. Our sports is brought to you this hour by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning. AirServe.com. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:36.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
Traffic check, MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. Visit MidmoHires.com to find a job. Post your job opening today. Traffic is flowing pretty well across mid-Missouri right now. We've been blessed with pretty good weather. Quiet this morning. We hope that continues. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us, 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. We have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
1 for 1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank coming up just a little over a week from now. How can you get involved? How can you help you and some of your friends and coworkers, man? We would highly encourage you to get involved. Go to our website, 939theeagle.com. It's with Commerce Bank coming up Wednesday the 15th. Doing it again this year at the mall. By the way, I got to put in this kind word for the mall. Last year we went there and it was all kind of last minute and there was a lot of stuff going on and the mall said, "Oh, wait, you're going to do this to help the community?" Sure. And we did it, and they were incredibly helpful. So anybody there within management at the mall, they really went out of the way to make this happen. And this year they are being accommodating. Again, welcome into the show. It's Wake Up Columbia. Hannah, the producer, Brian Hauswirth, Stephanie Bell. My name is Branden Rathert. A couple of weeks ago, right around Thanksgiving, huge story that made national headlines all across America. It was about a find of a certain type of dinosaur bones in Missouri. We have found a guy. His name is Guy Darrow. He's been involved with this dig, and there's a museum in St. Genevieve. I don't know if you've ever been, but you're taking 55 south, like you're going down to Cape Girardeau or Perry County, Missouri, and you'll cross through St. Genevieve. Very beautiful place. A lot of trees, very hilly, getting into southeast Missouri.
Did you say Cape Girardeau?
Cape Girardeau. When I went to school there at Southeast Missouri State, back when we were the Indians, not the Red Hawks, by the way, I had one of my stepbrothers couldn't say Cape Girardeau, and he called it Cape Girardeau.
Okay.
Cape Girardeau. Guy Darrow is with that museum that's been working on this dig. That's made some national headlines. He's joining us on the show this morning.
Yeah, so Guy, tell us how this all came about.
Well, actually, this started about 80 years ago. Back in 1942, they sent a fellow named Dan Stewart down to southern Missouri to look for clay deposits. And while he was down doing his geology work, he ran into some folks digging a well. And in the clay, they found some dinosaur bones. And there's been a lot of twists and turns over the years on this, but it originally was thought to be like a brontosaurus-like animal, long neck, long tail, and then eventually some other paleontologists decided a duck-bill type dinosaur, a herbivore. And then after many, many years going by now, I had made a discovery of a partial articulated skeleton of a juvenile dinosaur, about a 20-footer. And when we found that, very close to it, we could see there were some other bones. And at that point, I thought it'd be best to get some professional help. It was just getting to be too big of a project. And that's when we contacted the Field Museum, and their curator of dinosaurs decided to help us excavate. And then here, about a month ago, we pulled out another dinosaur, a major part of the body, and we think it's about a 35-footer. It's a full-size big dinosaur.
Jeez. So what's the significance of this? I mean, national is all over this week. The entire country looking at what we're doing here in Missouri and looking to you specifically.
Well, what it is I'll try to make this kind of quick. Back in the age of dinosaurs, the North American continent was cut across, cut in half by this western interior seaway. And on the western side, all the dinosaurs we grew up with, like Triceratops and Tyrannosaurus, those are pretty common on the western side. But on the eastern side of this, the eastern shore, there was nothing known. And most of the dinosaur age rock in Missouri had been weathered away. And for some reason, the ground in our dinosaur site had dropped, and there was a depression that formed. This is pretty big depression, and a lot of this dinosaur age material went in it. So when the majority of dinosaur age rock was weathered away from Missouri, there was still some rock, still some of this sediment preserved below grade, and that's where we're working. We put a greenhouse over it so it didn't turn into a pond, and we've been working on that for years. So, and there's found a lot of fossil turtles with this, and parts of giant crocodiles and fish, and so it's really an ancient environment preserved. It isn't just one dinosaur. It's basically an environment, a little glimpse of the ancient world from Missouri about 77 million years ago.
And this is something that previously we hadn't found anything quite like this in Missouri.
No, this is the only dinosaur site in Missouri, and it's really it it's just something for Missouri. Missouri now is dinosaur country. Out west, there's lots of dinosaurs and it's dinosaur country, but Missouri now has become dinosaur country. So that's really cool for Missouri. And the dinosaur Parasaurus missouriensis, that's our official Missouri state dinosaur now.
How about that? This is Guy Darrow, curator, St. Genevieve Museum, the Education Center. He's been involved in this dig that eventually bore some national headlines recently for this dinosaur, and really this whole thing, this whole area that's been found. And I want to ask you, because I'm guessing you dig for years and years and years, and sometimes you find something and you kind of go, oh, that's cool, or you go, oh, that's nothing. What was your reaction when you found out what you guys had uncovered? What was that moment like?
Well, it's all very, very exciting to me. I kind of always say it's kind of like finding King Tut's treasure in Missouri. I can't really imagine anything that's more exciting than finding dinosaurs in Missouri. And we had been looking for many, many years after we set this greenhouse up. We would periodically, over many years, go down there and excavate, and we kept finding bones, and I really kind of kept it quiet. And it wasn't until we found this articulated skeleton, and then parts of actually the jaw, which had these really, really cool teeth, very, very unusual teeth. And when you're trying to decide what a dinosaur is, when you find its jaw and you find the teeth, that's really the indications of what this is. And it has a body very similar to a duck-billed dinosaur, but it's a totally different lineage, and it's a world. It's close to a dinosaur called Iguanodon, but it's really not that. It's its own lineage, okay. And it's Parasaurus missouriensis. So
right. So it's just something we hadn't really found before, so there's a lot of excitement. When you first realize, okay, look at what we've done, look at the magnitude. Did you use foul language? Did you go, oh, no. Guy Darrow Guy Darrow is joining us on the show this morning. He was involved in this dig here in Missouri, and I think, and you guys have kind of kept this. Where in Missouri? What can you tell us about roughly where in Missouri?
Well, it's down in Bollinger County.
Okay.
And and it's a very small area. It's privately owned, and we're hoping eventually that this will become a site where students can visit and universities can visit. Right now, it's in a rough state, and we've put up a greenhouse quite a long time ago, and in a snowstorm took it down, and then we put up another one, and it went for many years, and a snowstorm took it down, ice storm. So at this very time, we're actually setting up a new greenhouse over this, now that we got this little stretch of dry weather here, and that'll preserve it. And it's just nice when the Field Museum comes down, their crew, and go to excavate, and if it's raining, they're under the greenhouse, and if it's cold, the sun heats the greenhouse up and they can work. So it's really a nice environment to work for dinosaurs. I'm not sure if there's another dinosaur site in the world that has a greenhouse over it like we do.
How about that? Unique to the state of Missouri. Guy Darrow involved with his dig, that's gotten national attention over some of these discoveries happening right here in Missouri. And before we let you go, like when you were a kid growing up, did you know you always wanted to study dinosaurs and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. I still have my little dinosaurs, and I've actually got involved in the past 30 years. I've created a lot of full-size dinosaurs from scratch, big models, and we have some at the museum. And so I actually still have my little tiny dinosaurs, but now my dinosaurs have just gotten a lot bigger, but I'm basically the same kid. So.
And by the way, this museum in St. Genevieve open to the public?
Yes, and we're going to have a grand opening on the December 11th, and we're hoping that we can get a lot of people to come out there. And our museum is really unique. It really is it's kind of like it goes from before one-celled life all the way pretty much to modern times, and gives you an idea how we got from the prehistoric times to where we are now.
Very cool. Next time you're doing a road trip through Missouri after the opening of that museum, St. Genevieve, which is a beautiful area anyway. I spent a lot of time in southeast Missouri State, and in Perryville and Perry County. St. Genevieve, beautiful area now with the addition of this museum.
something definitely worth checking out. Guy Darrow, who's been involved with this dig, incredibly exciting for people nationwide. It's exciting for what this could potentially mean for us here in Missouri, and I know it's got to be incredible for you. Anything else that we need to mention before we let you go this morning?
I would just say that folks need to come see our museum. It'll knock your socks off. It's really something special. It's not any kind of a museum that you're going to imagine. It's not old and stodgy. It's new and bright and exciting, and it really will be something that you'll remember.
I like the comparison. We do a news talk show here in Columbia, and we get folks that they tune into the show, and they say almost your same words. This show, what you guys are doing, it's new and exciting. It's not old and stodgy like other talk shows are. Guy Darrow, we appreciate your time here on 93.9 The Eagle. You have a blessed day.
Hey, you too. I appreciate this. Thank you.
As a matter of fact, the other day I went to a grand opening for Next RX, which is right off of Grindstone in 63. And it's what they do is they sell this guy. They sell prescriptions. And I don't know how they do it, but they're at amazingly low prices. Met a guy there afterwards. His name is Jax. He works at VU, and he's from Ashland. But he kind of said the same. He's like, these other talk shows, it's just old white guys complaining about stuff. And he says, yeah, but what you guys do is something different. This guy, Darrow, if we can pull this real quick, doesn't he sound
down there and excavate, and we kept finding bones. And
he reminds me of a mayoral candidate in Columbia. Sounds just, what'd you say, Hannah?
Minshew.
Yes, exactly. Hannah didn't even know the answer.
I love Columbia. I love how the city's grown since I've been here since 1994. Wow.
That's Randy Minshew.
Go down there and excavate, and we kept finding bones. And
that's Guy Darrow.
Oh, my goodness.
Glamorous, but, we have...
Crazy. Coming up, another episode of Saki v. Ducey. We'll do that for you at 8:53 here on 93.9.
Tonight I'm sitting alone, digging up bones. I'm digging up bones. I'm digging up bones. Exhuming things that's better left alone. I'm resurrecting memories of...
I had to. It was a dare by a listener. Chris says, what are the odds that Branden can find digging up bones by the time he's done chatting with Guy Darrow about that pretty historic discovery of dinosaur bones in Missouri? There you go. I'm Branden Rathert for the Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau. A lot of folks are shopping. We know that. Be careful. But check out the website. Before you go shopping, check out the Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau website, bbb.org. Here's why. So I have a few websites that I get onto every morning. I get on to like 93.9 The Eagle. I want to see Brian Hauswirth's local news. Get on to ABC 17. I get on to Fox News. Get on the note because I want to know what's going on. Get on to weather. I also get on to the Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau website, bbb.org. It's like that. It's one of those websites, really, that you should be, using every day. You get on there, like if you're going shopping, you're going to be buying something online. You want to know about any kind of scams that are happening in your area. That's what the Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau, they pay attention to that kind of stuff. So that's how you should use it, just like I'm using it. Just something I pop onto every day. Make sure nothing is going to be getting in my way, and you can learn more ways on how you can protect yourself from the Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau on their website, bbb.org.
Opinions on social issues. We throw those around too. Wake Up Columbia. 93.9 The Eagle.
You know, I love Columbia. I love how the city's grown since I've been here since 1994.
That's Columbia mayoral candidate Randy Minshew. This is a guy you've probably seen all over the TV.
Go down there and excavate, and we kept finding bones.
Guy Darrow. He's that guy who's been digging that overnight discovery of those dinosaur bones a couple of weeks ago that were found in Missouri that's getting national attention. She'd been digging around that for years, by the way. Interesting story. That's Guy Darrow.
Go down there and excavate, and we kept finding
who sounds just like
other things. Nothing really glamorous, but
That's weird because like a lot of times people have like faces that look like each other, but other than your family, because I think you have similar inflections. So like my sister and I, if we talk, you're kind of like okay, but it's weird for someone to have the same voice as someone else.
Friday, Stephanie and I did the Ashland Christmas parade, and I got to meet. I've met her family before, but all in one place at the same time. The youngest, Eden. I told her, I said, Eden, I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity because Stephanie will take, this kid dances like it's nobody's business.
Yeah, she danced to that Let's Go Branden song.
So we're at the parade and we're getting ready and everything. And she goes down, she starts tugging on Dad's sleeves. Dad. Because we've got music, Stephanie Bell and her husband have music blaring on the sound system. And the youngest one, Eden, goes up and starts tugging on her dad's sleeve. Dad, will you play the Let's Go Branden song? Here in Ashland, it'd probably go fine. But
they would have loved it.
No need. Okay, Psaki v. Ducey. Check this out, a little bit of setup. So Fox's P. Ducey had asked Jen Psaki about some crime stats. She gave an answer, wasn't that good of an answer. Then the following day, they're covering this stuff again. And she says, by the way, I have some stats for you from a question I asked yesterday. And she's trying to get indignant, kind of like, I bet you don't put this on Fox News.
The Department of Justice announced last week that San Francisco, where a number of high-profile retail thefts have happened, will get money to hire 50 more police officers through the COPS program that the president has championed. That came as part of nearly $150 million in similar grants nationwide. So just a few updates for you.
Thank you for that. We will include that in our
I look forward to seeing it on Fox later today.
It's on Fox right now.
Okay, I bet it is.
She says, I look forward to seeing that. It was, and he points to the monitor and points it. It's live on Fox right now. Another episode of Psaki v. Ducey.
She doesn't have much more time, does she?
I think she's gone in January or something like that. Gary Nolan Show is coming up next. It is my dad's favorite talk show. Then tomorrow, Christopher Arp's going to be joining us. Boone County Sheriff Dwayne Carey joins us too. Gave a great presentation this past Friday, Columbia Pachyderm Club. Some of that he's going to be covering tomorrow. He's against a well-known piece of legislation passed this year in Missouri. He's against it. What is it? We'll find out tomorrow. See ya.
Bye.